Cheers.
Cheers.
Ooh. Appreciate the gift. I do love Crown Apple. Very good. Normal Crown, not so much anymore. I feel like when I was like, I don't know, 14, 15 or, high school days and you're just out trying to get wasted all the time, which to the younger folks, please don't do. It's not worth it. I used to drink a lot of Crown and I just had so many moments where like, oh my God, just like it had to have been alcohol poisoning. I mean, I couldn't think of anything else of what it was. I look back now, when I was younger, I was just like, oh, I feel like shit. And no, it was alcohol, probably alcohol poisoning.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, but wild times, fun times, but definitely if I could go back, I'd probably structure some things a little differently.
A little bit, yeah.
Make a little bit wiser decisions now that I'm an older, man now. But I'm excited to meet you. We've been in contact for the last couple of months, I think. We've been talking back and forth. Yeah. I told you I've had a couple of people on who have done discussed the grief and the healing and stuff like that. Yeah. It's something important. June, could you do me a favor? Could you turn off that humidifier, please? Over there? Yeah, just unplug it. It's the top, the gray cord. And those lights too, please. No. No. Yeah. You can use that. Sorry. What is that noise? Do you hear that? This is the fun part of having a studio in your basement.
Like the crickets?
Yeah. Well, it's like just random. Oh, is that fan? Can you go turn that fan off, please? Thank you. All right. Well, while he's doing that, I don't know what camera he has on here. We'll let me check.
Okay.
He would have it on 3. Boom. I'll switch it to 3. This is gonna be a fun one. I don't edit either, so you get to see all my imperfections.
Well, this is what I was wanting to see because
Yeah.
we got plans, and so I think that's been my biggest hiccup is like all of the uncertainty of how's this gonna go?
I know people have expectations, but then it's like when you get here, you go, oh, this is just a normal dude. Like he's just like got a fucking studio in his basement, so it's nothing really like
no, that's right.
Fancy
I've been setting up my studio, and I'm like, I don't know if this is where I'm gonna keep it or.
We talked about that, about you. Did you figure out a name?
I did.
Are you ready to announce it or not yet?
I am ready to announce it.
What's it going to be?
Mishaps and Miracles.
Mishaps and Miracles.
Yes,
okay.
It is.
How hard was it to find one that wasn't in use?
It was very hard to find one that wasn't in use. Yeah. I just figured that just kind of summed up my my life.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
I've had a lot of miracles out of bad decisions. Like we're talking about, having fun and maybe not, when you're young and you're having fun and you're not really thinking about consequences how's this going to turn out down the road. So.
You're not. And so sorry, before it was interrupted by my own doing. I need to make a checklist. So here's my advice. If you have a podcast, make a checklist of everything to do prior. Normally Dom does it, but Julian's here today. Yeah. It's all right. He's part-timer. It's his third
we
job.
Appreciate you.
It's his third job. So, he doesn't always, remember everything, and neither do I, apparently. So, but we appreciate him for helping us out.
That ADHD.
Yeah. Well, I decided, before I started, you came in, and I'm just like, I'm in the middle of trying to fix this sign, and I got issues with the neon stuff falling down, and it's just a pain in the ass, and it continued to fall down again. So I got to redo that. I don't know why. Like you said, I got a wild hair and just was like, oh, I'm going to take this apart 30 minutes before you're supposed to show up. So I don't know what I'm thinking. But like I was saying, so we were in contact. I've had some people on that have discussed these things. I've had, therapists and people that have gone through traumatic events in their life and come on and talk to me about, pretty much their experience, what it was like, how they've dealt, not even dealt, how they've been able to manage it. Because really, and you would know best too, you don't really get over these things. And it took me a long time to realize that. You know, we've all gone through shit, and you always think, when is this going to be over? When is this going to stop replaying in my head or making me feel this way? And you really don't ever forget it. It's more of you learn to work around it, or you tend to notice when it's starting to build up, and then you kind of have some tools, which would be, you know, hobbies or meditation or whatever it may be. You may have something that you do in order to cope with it and manage it. And so these are the things that, like, you know, hopefully we can hear from you today. You know, I know you said that you've started a podcast, but you also have written some books as well.
I wrote a book. It's an autobiography. It's my story about grief and healing. Lost my mom when I was 11 years old, and she had a terminal illness. It was called scleroderma, which it's not something common. A lot of people are like, "Oh, your mom died of cancer," and I'm like, "No, she had scleroderma. It's an autoimmune disease." Hers was systemic, which means like it starts and then it just continues to grow. So they knew from the beginning. She got diagnosed 7 years before she passed away. She had just turned 30. She and my dad were, you know, they went and they told him, you know, she has systemic sclerosis, scleroderma. She has 7 to 11 years to live.
Oh my God.
And so I was 5 at the time, and then my brother is 4 years older than me, so he was 9. I remember us taking like a big trip to New Mexico. That's where my mom's from. And she went and told the whole family, like they got everybody together, and she told everybody together. And then progressively through the years, it just continued to get worse. So it was not only did I lose my mom, but it was also like, it was a traumatic experience that I didn't realize was traumatic until I got older.
Right.
You know, watching somebody slowly decline, it gives you like an anxiety that's kind of like always in you. You're always waiting for the shoe to drop. You know, like we knew what the end was. We just didn't know when the end was.
Right.
And so like I started catching myself, like I said, looking back, I didn't want to go with my friends. I didn't want to leave. I wanted to be with her. You know, it just started some really toxic, unhealthy habits while we were going through her illness. And I always tell people, if anybody ever has a terminal illness or a disease or something that they're going through, like cancer, and they're going through treatments, it's a family disease. It's not a one person has the illness. I mean, because it affects, again, like the word systemically, it affects the household.
Right.
So we started to become my brother and I, became caregivers for our mom. And my dad, of course, was working and paying insurance and making sure the bills were paid. And so it was a lot. So that's what the premise of the book is about, is just, you know, it starts off with that journey, and then it's just chapters of, you know, when she did pass away.
Sorry, I got kids upstairs.
The grief and the, you know, all of the things that come with it that an 11-year-old's not capable of handling. Right. And so just, you know, as I'm going through life, some of these symptoms start developing. As far as like, when I say symptoms, I'm like bad habits or, you know, doing things that are toxic to myself.
And you were 11? I
was 11. And so like my son right now, he's 12 years old. And so this year has been really hard for me emotionally, because I look at him and I'm like, oh my God, he's still like, he's just a little baby. I mean, like mentally, you know, like, I mean, he's a super smart kid. He's way above his age. But I'm like, he freaks out if I go out of the room, you know, like, and I'm sitting here and I'm thinking like, I had a whole life without somebody, you know, without my person. And my mom was my best friend, because I didn't really associate. I mean, like I would go to school, I would go play with kids at school, and I dealt with bullying, you know, kids making fun of my mom being ugly, because she became disfigured with her disease. She lost her hair. And so, we grew up in the 80s, and there was no regard for somebody's feelings at that time.
Kids were bullying you with that?
Yeah, I mean, kids were just making little comments about, her presence. Like, she would come for a PTA meeting or something, and she could barely walk, and she was doing the best she could, and they'd be like, "Oh, did you see her mom? Her mom looks like a skeleton, and it was just kind of like, at the time, you just keep coping and you just keep doing the best you can."
Right.
And then, like, I developed an eating disorder, so I would like overeat,
Right.
So I was like eating out of emotion, and so that kind of just followed me through life too.
Yeah,
so
that's horrible. Kids can be relentless, can't they?
Yeah, they're assholes.
I know.
Can be assholes. They could be sweethearts too. There's some really amazing
but,
kids.
Man, some of the stories I hear,
I
mean, from my daughter, she's in middle school. So, I mean, and it's even worse nowadays because, you can't really get away from it because they're all online.
Yeah.
So it's like you get bullied at school, but then you get bullied online as well.
Yeah, like there's times like I'll go through my son's stuff, and I'll see something that somebody said to him. And I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, who the fuck is this? And he's like, Mom. I'm like, no, for real, who is this?
Yeah.
He's like, I got it, Mom.
And then it's like you want to kind of do something. Sorry, I was
you're good.
having the garage door shut. I think they shut it. Again, unprepared. It's like you want to be able to do something about it, but what can you do?
You can't.
I mean,
and you have to let them learn. And that's
you want to go beat up a little kid sometimes,
hard.
But then you're like, it's a little kid, you know. But...
And then I try to teach my son because there's like I try to teach him. I'm like, hey, you come from a home, it's my son and I'm a single parent, and so I tell him, I'm like, you come from a home where there's safety and security, there's predictability, you know what to expect,
right?
I mean, there are no big surprises. I don't have people in and out of my house, So I was like, but you don't know what other kids go home to. You don't know if other kids are going home and their parents are beating them or they're doing inappropriate things to them.
I know.
And I said, and a lot of times I was like, just like when we've gone through, we've gone through stuff within our own family dynamic, and it's been hard on you. And I was like, and you would act out. You would, act up at school, and I'd get a phone call that you're upset, or you said something inappropriate to somebody, or you said something, and it all stems from what was going on at home. It had nothing to do with the kid that you were just being an asshole to. And I was like, so always try to keep that in mind first and foremost, that like you don't know what somebody else is going through. And it's easy to, you don't want to be a little bitch and get your ass kicked. I mean, I tell him that, like, I'm still like, if they, if somebody puts their hands on you, take care of it. But at the same time, I don't want him to be hurting other people with words, with actions, whatever, So I try to tell him, like if you're going through something, you need to talk to somebody, which is another thing of, the journey is like, I try to do my best to instill healing as we're going. Like I tell them, if you're going through something, if you start feeling, like you may not be able to articulate to me what you're trying to say, but you might be like, Mom, I'm missing such and such right now, or I'm having this feeling about, I'm mad about whatever. I was like, just tell me. I can't fix everything for you, but if you just let me know, then number one, that's going to keep us from fighting, because I know that you're going through something right now. And then I can, I'll try and figure out what it is you need from me. But if I can't figure it out, then I'm just going to give you your space to let you be. And he's really good about like, I think my son has more emotional intelligence than most adults. Because if we get it, if my dad teases us, because he says, you sound like a married couple. But, like if we get into a heated argument about something, he'll be like, I need a minute. I'm like, okay. And he'll leave for a little while, and I'll keep doing what I do, and he'll come back and he'll be like, Mom, I am so sorry for what I said, or I'm really sorry for what I did. I didn't think that through. Now that I had time to go back and sit by myself, I had time to think about it. And I'm like, damn, you make me proud, because accountability is so important. It
is. And you got to give them time to reflect.
Yeah.
Just because how old's your son?
He's 12.
12.
Yeah.
And so just because like he's 12 doesn't mean he's an idiot. Like he knows.
He's super smart.
Yeah. And but even any 12-year-old kid, you know, no matter like they know what they're going through. They understand their feelings. They're trying to navigate them for sure. They're young. But if you give them time to kind of reflect and you kind of plant the seeds, you know, and instead of always trying to pry everything out of them, just, you know, hey, I understand what you're going through. I'm here if you'd like to talk, you know, letting them know, reassuring them that I'm here, giving them space, maybe coming back a couple hours later. The invitation's still open. You know, you sure you don't want to talk about it? I've been through some of the stuff you've been through. I can help you navigate it. Stuff like that. Instead of tell me what you're going through. Tell me right now. You know what I mean? Instead of forcing it. That doesn't work for anybody.
We go through so sometimes I'll just be like, do you need a hug? And
Oh,
he's
yeah.
like, yes. And I'm like, okay.
Sometimes that's as simple as that. You just need a hug.
And I feel like that's kind of like, as I was healing through my process, you know, I would act out and like I would have adults be like, you know, well, it's because your mom died that you act like this. And I'm like, I didn't need you to put that salt in the wound. I mean, like, damn.
Do you think sometimes that's kind of like, I'm not saying it's a good thing to say to somebody, but do you think sometimes it's an eye opener for the individual who may be acting out because of that? Yeah.
I mean, I think like I can say that in the history of, as that a child that age.
Right. It's hard. Yeah. But when do you say it? Because I've seen people that have gone through traumatic things in their life and still at the age of a very grown-ass adult, they're still continuing to make decisions that are not good for them because of things that have happened to them when they were younger. And it's like at some point, it's like, when do you stop giving advice and when do you go, hey, I get it. Bad shit happened. A lot of people have been through this. But you're fucking your life up, you know, or you're not taking care of your priorities. Yeah. So it's like, that's a delicate balance from the side of someone who hasn't gone through necessarily what that individual has had. Like, how do you give advice and not just be the ear and you're watching your friend almost self-destruct? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's kind of a hard place to navigate. No,
I mean, I respect
But like
honesty.
you said, you were a kid though. So
that's
a whole
when you're a kid, it's like, well, dang. But again, considering the time, and that was normal, you know, that was normal at that time to just say whatever. I mean,
harsh truth.
I mean, that same individual still says stuff to this day. And I'm just like, do you think before you speak? But that was something like my ex, he would tell me, you know, he would ask me, do you think before you speak? And it pissed me off in the moment when he asked me, but then like I got to thinking about it and I was like, you know, there was a lot of things that
a lot of us are guilty
that
of
he said that was actually like in the moment it made me mad, but at the time that later when I could reflect on it, I was like, you know, he really did help me grow because again, like you said, you care about somebody enough to point out things that they may not see in themselves, and then you know it help like. Either people are going to grow or they're just going to continue to be dumbasses and there isn't anything you can do. Yeah. And then if it's an adult and they're a dumbass and they just keep doing toxic, stupid stuff, you're just like, you know, I love you, but I'm going to have to love you from afar. I can't.
That's what I think.
You know, like I can't keep entertaining your shit. So.
Yeah. And then it's like at some point, when do you kind of just cut off the phone calls or let me dump all of my trauma onto you? And I understand like that's what friends are supposed to be there for. But to my thing, it's like for my side of how I view things is that I would rather, if I'm abusing our friendship by continually dumping my mess onto you and you tell me because maybe I can't see it, I would respect that more. Would I be probably hurt a little bit? Of course. Yeah. But like you said, just like your son, he goes, he reflects a little bit and then comes back and goes, you know what? You're right. Like I kind of do need a hug, or maybe I went about this the wrong way. You know what I mean? Like that's to me what friendship is. Not at a drop of a hat, I'm always here, but yet I still see no progress from you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, like, and I've been known for a lot of one-sided relationships, like, you know, just giving and giving and giving and not realizing that it was a one-sided relationship until somebody else pointed it out and was like, hey, I don't know if you noticed this, but you're the giver and they're going to take and take and take because you don't have any boundaries. And so that was something else that I had to establish and learn boundaries for myself, for one. I feel like once you learn boundaries for yourself, it's easier to enforce boundaries for others.
Exactly.
So,
change you.
Change you.
And then.
Yeah. And so I became the project.
Yeah. And it's almost like, it's like a kind of a stoic way of thinking. I think I've read this in Meditations. It was like, and this is going to be, quoted or anything, but basically stop speaking it and embody it, and then that's when things will change around you. And that's true. I mean, I've seen it myself, I'm not perfect, at all, but like the changes I have made, I've seen changes around me happen just because I decided to put the energy towards myself instead of others.
I feel like when you change, people are either going to change with you or they're going to decide like, I'm not on board, right? Like, oh, well, you make me feel uncomfortable. And you're like, maybe that's your own reflection looking back at you. And, I'm not projecting anything onto you. It's your own, how you feel about yourself.
Right.
I had gone through, so I was dating a guy and he got put in jail and he was looking at 25 years in prison. And in the course of him being in jail, everybody gets saved during jail time.
Everybody.
And so, but the thing is that what the crazy part was that and my mom, okay, so to go backtrack to my mom. So it'll come back. And these are all parts of the book as well. So get the book.
Yeah.
It's juicy. It's not just sad.
What's the book called again?
It's called A Story Within.
A Story Within.
Yeah, it has some juice. It has, grief. Of course, it starts off with the grief. But
is it audio version?
I don't have an audio version. I know. My son keeps telling
all
me to
the
do
authors
that.
I have on.
Know,
I've had a couple
right?
of people who've wrote books on here, and I'm like, and I'm like, you got to get audio versions, at least for me, please. I don't know how much that costs.
I've had like 3 or 4
It may not cost anything. You read it and record it. Really? I mean, now that you have a podcast, you have some mics.
Now I have the mics. Now I can actually read the book.
Exactly. And I always tell, like, and I know Rogan's been very famous for kind of introducing this, that like, if it's your book, read it. And I get it. Sometimes you hear yourself and you're like, nobody would want to listen to me. But you'd be surprised. It doesn't have to be this English accent that sounds so very educated. You know what I mean? Like it could just be a normal, the person who wrote it, a normal voice.
I've been doing TikToks like a lot in the last 6 months because I was trying to get used to my voice. So that way when I did start the podcast, I would not be uncomfortable with myself.
Right. Yeah.
And
it really just speak how you normally do. I mean, there's no reason to change, just like you're speaking normal right now. It's like, that's how it should be. I mean, there's no reason you change it up. Then you got to hold that act and that sucks.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. So when my mom was alive, she got saved in her journey and she was involved in which hardly anybody ever even knows about this, but like most Catholics have really very limited knowledge of actual religion. It's more ritualistic, and I'm a cradle Catholic, so I mean, I'm speaking from experience. So, when my mom got sick, she actually was part of. It's called a charismatic movement. It's kind of like a Pentecostal within the Catholic Church.
Okay.
And so it's more, of the reading of the Bible and all of those aspects of Christianity, laying of hands, speaking in tongues, a lot of the gifts of the Spirit, healing. Like she healed my dad's friend. He had been in a motorcycle accident and he had one leg that was longer than the other.
Really?
And my mom was like, I can try. And so, and my mom was like the most loving, like, I mean, her energy bubble was like on high. She just was the most magnetic, happy, positive person you could ever meet. And so anyway, we were in our family room and, she was like laying hands on him and like, you could literally see his foot moving.
Really?
And then she saved my uncle from suicide.
Oh, shit.
2 of them actually. And so she was just like this really positive energy and just this amazing, amazing person. So back to the story of my ex being, in jail. We started sending Bible scriptures to each other. And then like, I would say it helped. It helped both of us. But like, I got on this completely different journey where I completely stopped drinking. I would go, like I was part of a bunco group and I would go play bunco. and everybody be smoking and
Bunko?
drinking.
What is that?
Bunko is a dice game.
Oh, okay.
You know, and
only dice game I know is craps.
Yeah, like, well, basically you're playing. You're like, I think it's 3 tables of 4 people.
Oh, okay.
And you're like playing with people, but against each other at the same time. Like your goal is to be like the top winner, the second place, and then the booby prize, which the booby is like the loser.
Oh, okay.
And so like those 3 positions, the first prize would get like a pool of money, and then the second person would get whatever the first person didn't get.
Oh, okay.
And so, and it was fun. It was like just a group, you know, a group of us. We would be cutting up, just having a great time.
Yeah.
But then when I got saved, I stopped drinking and you know, doing everything else, and I was like a funny dud, but like I was still having fun. Being with them, you know, being with my friends and us just engaging and having a good time, like that made me happy. Like the other part I wasn't missing because I was high on Jesus, you know. So like I was like, yeah, you know. Yeah. And I was like the extreme. So I went from like, you know, having a shit load of fun to being like, you know, like Bible thumper, you know, for a while. And so but like we were talking about though, that's the dynamic where what I chose to do made other people feel uncomfortable. Right. They didn't feel comfortable in front of me because I don't know if it made them like, then they started feeling guilty or I acted different. Like as far as years ago? Or
yeah. Like when did you kind of come to?
That was back in 2007.
When you switched more 2008. To religion?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And so like when I said, when I was little, I watched my mom and she was like, again, like holy roller, like on fire. We used to have prayer meetings at our house. We used to light candles on the fireplace. I mean, like our, you know, like our house was like a little church pretty much, you know, and we had a community of believers and everybody would come. And so that was, I was 27, 28 maybe when that change happened. And I could just slowly start to see like the real me was starting to emerge. Like I was finally starting to see the little girl. It was almost like going back to my childhood and then having to relive everything after it.
What made you change though? Was there a certain
event? It was that event, him going to jail, and I was raising his son. And like I said, he was looking at 25 years in prison, and I wasn't the child's mom. Both of them had, you know, they had their story, and it ended him in jail.
He's still in jail?
No, he was falsely accused and spent 8 or 9 months in jail. But it was enough to get change for both of us. He's my best friend. I mean, still, I still, that's like, to this day, I still feel like that's one of my best friends.
Really? 25 years? What, he murder somebody?
No, it was armed robbery.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it was armed robbery. They were on meth and just a group of friends, you know. And I would sit there like when they were going through that journey, and like I would be sitting there, you know, with everybody partying and kicking it. And like I did not, but it was like I was looking for a home or a family. Right. And even though like they were doing what they were doing, they were still kind. They were still like, that's why like I'm big on mishaps and miracles, because you can meet some of the most awesome people in the worst circumstances. Right. Like some of those people, it gave me like, I feel like when I was growing up, I feel like I was very entitled. I grew up in we're Mexican American. My dad's first generation. So they did everything that they could to give us a really good life. Right. But I didn't want for anything. I could ask for anything. I could cry about anything. I'd get it, like just super spoiled, just looking back now, very entitled. And I feel like...
Was it just you, or did you have brothers
and
sisters?
I have a brother.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a brother that he's 4 years older than me. He actually has my kiddo right now. Okay, that is like my best friend too. And my brother has always been there for me. Yeah. Everything important in my life, my brother has been there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And he's acts like my dad. And he's one that when we talk about honesty, he's I'm like the loud, extroverted one, and he's like super introverted. He hardly ever says anything, but when he says something, it's very impactful. It's like one of those things that makes you sting. Like, he told me one time, he's like, your theme song should be I'm in love with a stripper. And he's like, that should be your theme song. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah. He's like, because you're trying to turn a hoe into a housewife. And he's like, you know, like, you need to see shit for what it is.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn. But it's true. You know,
medicine doesn't always taste
good.
Yeah.
And so, and that's what I love about him. Like I said, and he says it in a way, like, I mean, how he presented it was funny.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so he wasn't like, you're a fucking idiot, you know? He like, do better, you know? Like, it wasn't like that. It was just like,
not to put you down, just kind of give you a little bit of reality
like,
check.
You know, when I was in high school and I would wear too much makeup, and he'd be like, you need to go back upstairs, clown. You know, like, he'd be like, you take that shit off. He's like, you got too much going on. Dad won't say it, but I will, you know? And I'd be like, because I was a daddy's girl. But being around people.
Did you say your father was?
My father's still.
Okay.
Yeah, my father's still alive. Yeah, we have a good rapport. And, and then my dad remarried shortly after my mom passed away. And so I grew up with my stepmom.
Okay.
So.
How was that?
That was different.
It's always different with stepmoms.
It's different. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, different set of rules.
Right.
You know, and then she had a daughter, and she was a single mom. And then so she went from like struggling, you know, to her and my dad both had good jobs. So then, you know, like she, you know, they did good together.
Right.
And so it was a different dynamic where like both of my parents have always worked. Like even when my mom was sick, she worked for Hallmark Cards.
Oh, really?
And yeah, and my dad worked for the railroad. And so like they together always had, you know, a solid foundation for us.
I feel like everybody works for the damn railroad. I swear to God.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of those jobs.
In almost every podcast I listen to here locally, it's like, my dad worked for the railroad. I'm like, I forget how many people work for the railroad.
Yeah. And then there's like, you know, railroad daughters, like little diva princesses that get whatever they want, you know. But, you know, they work hard and they want to give us everything.
It was probably the better paying job, too. I mean, they still pay pretty decent now, but I know some guys that work for like BNSF. So
yeah, and my grandpa was a railroader, and then my dad and my uncle, they both worked for the railroad.
Really?
And then and I come from a predominantly male family, like as far as like uncles, and I have a few aunts, and the rest of them are uncles. I have like 42 first cousins, and 5 of us are girls.
Damn.
And so I kind of have more of like a tomboyish type of. I'm not your. I'll be girly girl when I need to be girly girl, but that's not like this right here. Yeah. Like, this is me. I was like, am I going to go and be dressed up? And I'm like, girl, put your hair back. It's going to rain.
Yeah,
it's going to throw out. As soon as your hair's going to be like, when you come out. So
just come as yourself, you know?
So, but, you know, me being around, I feel like getting saved, all that stuff was all part of the plan, the bigger plan. I see that now. I didn't see it then. And so when I was around people who had different lives, you know, different life experiences, it was really enlightening. You know, like I was like, oh my gosh, almost everybody I've ever dated didn't have their own bedroom until they were like 18. They slept on a sofa or they took turns with their siblings, you know, and I'm like I had a whole room when I was super little that had a canopy bed, and I never even slept in it because I was scared and I wanted to sleep with my brother. Right. You know, so it was super eye-opening. And I don't feel like there are mistakes. I think that we go through certain circumstances that set us up for whatever our journey is. Like there's probably things when you look back right now, you look back on your life and you're like, dang, that got me here. Yeah. That is what got me here to this point.
Yeah, but sometimes I do wish I could go back and change some things. You know what I mean? Like maybe either mistakes I made or maybe things that I've had to go through, stuff like that. You know, you wish you could kind of alter it. But I think you're right, though. It's why live in that mindset when just it happened. You are the person you are. Yep. But I mean, of course, that depends on severity too, because some people have gone through way worse than what I have.
Yeah,
so,
I look at that.
Yeah, it's like what's, you know,
what is worse?
Is it okay? Well, is it okay for me to tell them, well, you went through and you are the person you are, who you are now? It's like, Yeah, probably not if you were molested as a child.
No, yeah,
you know what I mean?
Definitely, definitely.
It's like there's definitely a tier system.
Yeah,
on,
no,
like,
yeah, like there's some things that you're just like, I just don't understand it at all.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so sorry that you had to go through that.
Yeah,
that's just,
and it's like, some of the things. I don't know. You always want to try to perfect yourself. You always want to try to be better, like especially as like a parent. And I've talked about this before. Just being a young father at 18. I just wish I was more on the ball, and it's not as if I was a horrible parent. I just am always seeking better for myself, and not only just for myself personally, but as a father for my children as well. And, there's just things I wish I would have maybe soaked in more when I was younger. You know what I mean? Like, especially my oldest, she's going to be 15. I wish I would have paid attention more and soaked in those moments of her as a child. You know what I mean? Like, nowadays, like, I'll sit there and I'll look and I'll be present. I'll like take it in. You know what I mean? Don't worry about anything else. Don't worry about whatever it may be. Don't run too fast, or don't do that. Don't, saying stuff like that. No, just stop and just watch. Don't critique. Don't do anything. Just watch and just take that in for a moment. Almost like a mental photograph almost, or a video, and that's really what I've been trying to focus on a lot now, is just sitting there and being present,
Yep. I feel like that with my son. Like, he just had a baseball tournament over the weekend in Wichita.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we went, and I was like, this is so cool, because I didn't get to do this kind of stuff when I was little, and so I'm like, thank you for letting me live vicariously through you. And he's like, are you having fun, Mom? And I'm like, yes, this is fun.
Yeah.
Hanging out with the other parents, and, just like watching them just meld together, as a group of they've been together for 2 years, their baseball team, and
right.
And their coach, just trying to teach them the fundamentals. He doesn't have any kids on the team, so he's there because for the passion and the love of it.
Right.
And it's pretty cool. It's awesome. Cool, and to see him develop. Like, I tell him the other day, I was like, I'm so proud of you, because when you played t-ball, I was like, you're always like the one, like, against the back fence, just walking around, like you were like not engaged in the game at all, and they would always be like, come back,
Yeah. They get older, they start paying attention more. They'll start finding their way in what they like, and have them try new things too. New sports, and that way they can kind of figure out and narrow in on kind of what they like, because they may like baseball one year, they may like soccer the next year. Who knows? That's what I always try to push my kids to do. Just try. This is your moment to try a bunch of stuff, because you're gonna hit an age where you can't try shit no more. You're gonna have to figure it out. So. It's best to do it while you're young, for sure. To go back on what happened to your mother, you said, what was it called?
Scleroderma.
What is that?
It's an autoimmune disease. So it's a disease it's a blood disorder. And so basically the
I forgot to ask. That's why I'm asking.
It's the disease attacks its own body.
Oh my God.
So it's like a conflict between the white and blood.
So was she born with that, or?
They are thinking that it may have been hereditary, because my aunt, which is her sister, one of her sisters has rheumatoid arthritis. That's part of the family. My cousin has lupus, they're all in the autoimmune disease. But yeah, so it affects the internal. So a lot of times you can't see it. My mom's was just the worst kind that you can have.
Oh, okay.
And so hers became apparent on the outside. It was reflecting on the outside what was happening to her body on the inside. Ultimately, she ended up dying of respiratory failure, her lungs. So we had traveled to New Mexico. And as soon as we got to New Mexico, I went with my aunt to the store. And I remember telling my grandma, I was like, okay, she has to have her powder. It goes in the orange juice. You've got to mix it in there. She needs to have that. And then she needs to have these pills. And then I'll be back. And she's like, okay, I've got it under control. Everything's fine. And so we left to go to the grocery store, and we come back, and my grandpa is standing in the driveway crying.
Oh my God.
And he tells my aunt, he's like, we got to go. We got to get to the hospital, because they just took Rose in the ambulance. And so we get there and she's in ICU. And because I was only 11 at the time, they wouldn't let me in. And so my aunt was like, is there anything you can do? This is my niece. They're here from Kansas. Like, it's just her and her mom. Mm-hmm. Would you please just let her in? Would you make an exception? They're like, absolutely not. We can't make an exception. If we make it for one person, we have to make it for another.
Right.
And so that night we went to my aunt's house. And so like, that's kind of one of the when I kind of started, I kind of thought I was like a little off when I was younger. Mm-hmm. But that night, I felt like God came to me and was like, she's going to pass. She's going to go.
I think that's
you're going to be
insane.
fine.
They don't let you go in there
when
you're the daughter.
Right.
You think that would be an exception?
Yeah, an exception if it's like a child.
Yeah, it's insane.
But yeah, so it was like the anticipation of knowing because I had already had that dream. And so I was waiting. And then so finally, like around 2:00 in the afternoon, they came and picked me up. They had moved her to a regular room. And I got there and she was on oxygen. She's not breathing. I mean, she can't breathe on her own. She was incoherent. And so then I they were like, she's here. Your baby's here. And so I walked over to the side of the bed and I was like, I'm here, Mom. Mm-hmm. And like she's trying to open her eyes. And then I held her hand and she held my hand and she's like, I'm going to go. And I was like, yeah.
So she was able to speak.
Yeah. She's like, I'm going to go. And I was like, yeah. Because I had the dream.
Yeah.
And then she was like, you're going to be okay. I was like, okay. I mean, what else do you say? There isn't much else to say. I was like, okay. Yeah. And then she's like, as long as you have love in your heart, I'm always going to be with you. She's like, I'm always going to be right here. I'm going to be in your heart. And I was like, okay, Mom. And I think about when I think about it now, it makes me emotional. But I'm like, at the time, I was just like, okay. And I don't know if I didn't understand it or if your body just kind of goes into shock and it just does what it has to do in the moment.
Yeah.
Because so then we left, my aunt and uncle, they took me home. I gave her a kiss, they took me home, and then I waited, and I was at my aunt's house with my cousin, and she's the same age as my brother, so she's like 15. And phone calls coming in, people calling from, I have one aunt in California, one aunt in Kansas, and then my dad's side of the family just kept calling and trying to get status updates. And my cousin was like, she was communicating, and then there was just one particular call that she got, and she was just like, okay. And I could tell in her voice that it was a different response than what she had been giving. And the next thing, I don't know. I don't even know how much time elapsed, but I could hear my grandma. I heard the car doors open and close. And then I can hear my grandma, and she's just screaming. And she's like, my baby, oh God, why didn't you take me? Why didn't you take my baby? And I just walked outside. I walked outside. I was like, and I just sat there and I was on my aunt's picnic table and I just looked up at the skies and then there was a whole bunch of stars.
And your father wasn't there?
My dad and my brother were en route. They were stuck in Denver in the airport. And really? They were trying to get here. And this is the days before cell phones. So they had to leave my dad a message on the answering machine. Like, hey, call us as soon as you get into town. 'Cause there's an emergency with Rose.
Yeah.
And, so my dad was doing everything he could to get them there. And so I'm looking at the stars and I'm talking, I'm talking to the sky and I'm like, Mom, if that's you, let me know that you made it up there. Mm-hmm. And then I saw a star blink and I was like, I felt peace.
Right.
Which there was no doubt in my mind, which direction she was going.
Right.
But my brother said that when they were on their way to the hospital, because at that time they didn't know yet that she had passed, and so they were on their way to the hospital, and he said that there was a star he was looking at, and in his mind he was like, as long as that star stays lit, she's alive. And he said, and his star went dim. And so he said, Dad, he's like, she's gone. And my dad's like, I know. So then when they got there, they confirmed it and everything. And then it wasn't until the next day that I got to see my dad and my brother. Because they had got in so late, in the middle of the night. And so
I couldn't imagine not being able to be there.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was.
And that's the thing, like we talk about it, you know, like I have reoccurring, like there's really not a day I wake up that I don't think about that scenario. Like you say, like you replay things over and over again. Right. It gets really, really intense. Like when those days, like I think you may have seen my post on TikTok, but like the days leading up to the anniversary of her passing, it just always floods. And then my grandma passed away. My paternal grandma, who took care of me after my mom passed away, she passed away 2 days before my mom, like 17 years later or something like that. So there's like the 8th, the 9th, and the 10th where I'm just like a hot mess, you know, because I'm like missing both of my moms essentially. And then, but I mean, like I think about it all the time. It doesn't go away. There'll be times that I'm with my son and we're just laying in bed together and I'm hugging him. And then like the little girl version of me starts to cry. You know, I'm grown.
Right.
And I'm holding on to him. But I'm crying for the version that misses being held by my mom.
Right.
So
I couldn't imagine, you know, I asked a buddy of mine, what was it? Maybe last week. And he's older and his parents had passed away already. And I was like, how is that? You know what I mean? Like you don't have your father and your mother there anymore. And whether or not you're close or not close, it's still got to be weird.
Well, yeah, because
because you grew up with them your whole life.
I've talked to people who have been estranged from their parents, and the fact that they're not there, the fact that there is like the permanent, you know, it's permanent that they're not going to be there anymore. It really bothers them because it's like if I wanted to make amends, if I wanted things to be different, it's not going to be.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And so, and mine is like I say, like, mine is unfinished. My grief is unfinished love. It's not, I mean, like, I really, really enjoyed the time I had with my mom. I can't say that I have bad memories, even her being sick. I mean, like I said, I was her caregiver. Her disease affected her in a way that like she had open ulcerations on her legs. And they had to be cleaned. They had to have gauze on. She had to have gauze on her legs at all times. They were wrapped, and you know, like I would go and clean them. We would all take turns. Like it's your turn. Like we would have dinner, and then it would be like, okay, today's your night. Go clean your legs. Yeah. You know, and so like we would have to spray peroxide on the open wounds, and she would, you know, you would see her flinch, and then I would like I was a little girl. I was 9.
Yeah.
And I would start crying. And I'm like, I'm sorry, Mommy. I didn't mean to hurt you. And she's like, it's okay, baby. Keep going. Keep going. Just do it. And so that's like, I hear that in my head a lot when things get rough. It's okay, baby. Just keep going. Yeah. You know, and I hear myself tell my son that. It's okay, baby. You know, it's going to be fine. We're going to be fine.
Yeah, I just couldn't imagine. You know what I mean? Like, they're there and then they're not. And then it's like... I mean, there's no going back anymore.
It's such a raw feeling. No, it's such a raw feeling to go to your home, and you literally have a person that's just gone, like never coming back. Yeah, you know, you walk in the room, and like, you know, I walk in her room, and her makeup table was still set up, and all her makeup sitting there, and her perfume's there, and you know, like her clothes are in the closet, and you know, and. So like I'm an empath. I feel like I'm an empath. I feel like when people, like I take death really, really hard, even if it's not even somebody I really know.
Yeah, I know. I was like, damn. Is it storming?
Yeah, I heard it a little while ago.
Christ.
I was
like, okay.
I saw you notice too, because you're like.
Yeah, I heard the plinking of the rain, and I was like, damn, that's coming down pretty hard.
Yeah, it is coming down hard.
And another thing too, the reason why I asked, you know, my mother, she lost both of her parents when she was younger. I believe her mom at 5 and her dad when she was 17. And, you know, my mom's a very tough person. And, you know, when it comes to, you know, she's very loving and kind and sweet, but you know, you don't really get I don't remember, at least, and if I'm wrong, Mom, I'm sorry. But I don't remember ever really her discussing a lot of it. You know, she's not much of a, like, to let everything out, you know, and make it, you know, like a big deal. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like she'll talk about it from time to time. You know, I think it'll come out of her at times, but mostly, you know, I don't really know how she really feels. You know, it's got to be a horrible feeling, you know, at 5, you know, and like as you as well, you said you were 10 or 11. And then to back, you know, hit an adult age of 17 and then your father, you know, and it's just, and then like you said, that'll affect you the rest of your life, you know, and it'll kind of alter the way you kind of navigate life and how you go about things, and probably the way you love and trust, and you know what I mean? Because if your parents can be taken away that easy, can other things, you know, can other people?
And I think so. We go back to my brother telling me that
almost become
I'm in
guarded.
love with a stripper, right?
Yeah.
And so I feel like a lot of the decisions that I made in my journey was because of that. Like, I love you, but I understand that you're going to probably go away. And so I always loved with that mentality.
That
like, yeah, there was always a distance. It's like, I'm going to love you and I'm going to love the shit out of you. But in the back of my mind, I'm waiting for you to be gone.
Right.
You know, because the last time I had this kind of love, it was gone.
Right.
And so, you know, like with my son, I do my best to, like, I feel like he gets the full version love of me. That unconditional love. I'm not afraid, like, you know, I was not supposed to have kids. So I had fertility issues. And so I was told I was not going to have children. And if I did, it was going to take effort. Like I would have to be on IVF or something. And so I was just having fun.
Super expensive.
Yeah. I was having fun, and God has jokes. And so, you know, I ended up with my happy miracle, and so I love the shit out of him. You know, that's my buddy. And you know, I tell him this, it's not a surprise to him. I mean, he knows. And so he'll say, well, was I an accident? And I'm like, no, I mean, you weren't on purpose. I wasn't trying.
We weren't planning.
Yeah, we weren't planning, but, you know, we weren't preventing either. You know,
we
here you are.
We knew the possibilities could happen. We rolled the dice.
So I was going with my no, and then, you know, I should have, that was a loaded gun that I was playing with. So.
How many people really plan pregnancy?
I don't think,
you know,
I said, I was joking.
Or maybe I'm not hanging around with the right people.
Right?
I don't know.
No, I know. I was like, there's people that plan, but they're not my group of people.
Yeah, they're not in my friends group.
All of my friends are like, fuck.
You ain't lying.
Shit. I was real. Like, I said, I feel like, I mean, my personal opinion, I feel like pregnancy tests they should cry. If it's positive, it should automatically start crying.
Just crying.
Because if you're planning to have a baby, you're going to cry because you're excited. And if you were not planning on having the baby, you're going to cry because you're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, lying.
So, but yeah, so that's that. And then after I had my son, no, actually it was when my ex got out of jail. We ended up parting ways, and that was really hard because the situation was really messy.
Oh, that's you have your son?
No, that was like, so I've dated like 2 people who were like solid people I've dated, and then I have a baby daddy.
Oh, okay.
So my baby daddy is just my baby daddy.
Just your baby daddy?
Yeah, he is my baby daddy.
Just a BD?
Just a BD. I call him. We call him the donor at the house at this point.
Really?
So yeah, he's
so
never met my son.
No good relationship.
He does not have. He doesn't know my son. Yeah.
How do people do that?
I don't know. My son walked. We were in Price Chopper one day, and he taps me on my. And you have to understand the dynamic of we play around a lot anyway.
Like a dark humor, crude humor type.
So
same here.
my son like taps me on the arm, and he's like, "Hey, Mom." He's like, "Is that my dad?"
Yeah.
I was like, "No."
Yeah.
He's
no,
like,
I get it.
I
always mess with my daughter all the time. I'm like, I'm going to go get the milk, all right? When they piss me off, I'm like, I'm going to go get the milk. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Because she used to tell me a joke one time when she was younger. She's like, because, man, these kids are savages, like on the jokes. I thought I was bad. These kids outdo me. She's like, she's talking about her friend one time, and she's like, "Oh, so and so's dad went out to get the milk, never came back." I was like, "Jesus Christ!" I was
I'm gonna go get the milk.
Yeah, so now every time they piss me off, I'm about to go get the milk right now. All right.
Some days it feels like that, ain't it? You're just like, I'm gonna keep on driving.
Yeah, no, dude, me and my daughter, man, I swear, me and her just we have a very dark sense of humor, me and her. But I don't know, that's kind of our thing. You know?
We talk to each other crazy, but we know that we're joking, and everybody else is like so offended, and they're just like, I can't believe you guys talk to each other like that. And we're like, we know we're joking, but sometimes I have to tell them, like, you can't play like that around certain people.
Yeah, sometimes, I'm like, hey,
I was like, because they don't know that you're joking.
Yeah, I always tell them, like, babe, you can't flip me off in front of your grandparents. All right, chill out.
It's usually my parents that are like,
and
you let him talk to you like that?
Well, what's funny is that my grandparents or my parents are wild. All right, but it's like, I get that, but I, just kind of keep that, with us. You can't just, because she's always just flipping me off all the time. And I'm like, I think it's funny, but I'm like, hey, chill out in some places.
I'm always just like, when we're with them, I'm like, like, you're gonna get me in trouble. I don't want, like, I'm sick. I'm a 47-year-old woman. I don't want to be in trouble with them.
Yeah, I know, it's funny.
It's like, I'm still having PSTD from that. Like
PSTD.
Yeah, that was post-traumatic stress disorder.
Oh, no.
PTSD. Yeah, whatever. I always get them.
PSTD. I was like PSTD. Like, is that a new one?
Hey, I'm horrible with acronyms. I'm always like, so.
Oh, man.
But yeah.
So, leading back to your book then, so what made you, like, what kind of pushed you? I mean, I understand what you went through, but, not too many people go and I'm going to write a book about it.
It was, okay, so the book being about that actually was like not even, that was crazy. It just ended up that way. Mm-hmm. So I was journaling, and I kept hearing, write a book about your story, and I was like one of those promptings again. And I'm like, why do you pick on me? Like, why me?
Right.
So then I thought I was writing the journey about being brokenhearted about this guy I wasn't with anymore. Uh-huh. And that ended up being like one chapter. And then as I was writing the book about that situation, it just started like unraveling everything that happened before. So like I said, it touches on the loss of, losing my mom. When I was in high school, one of my friends tried to kill me.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Well, hold on.
Took me
back up.
Right?
Back up.
Right?
What the hell happened there?
Yeah. So apparently the guy she had a crush on liked me. And so she got jealous or mad. This is what they're telling. I don't even know what the whole reason why she tried to take me out. But anyway, so we were at her party, and I had just turned 16. I had just got a car. She was 18, so she was a senior and I was a sophomore. And so she's like, hey, I'm gonna have this party. You want to go? And I'm like, yeah. So I came. It's gonna be a slumber party. Cool. And then, like, as most kids don't do this. She was like, hey, you guys want to go out to the field? And, because back when we were growing up, field parties was a thing.
Oh, okay.
You want to go out to the field and go have, we're going to go party, whatever. And we're like, oh, yeah, okay. And then, like, I was the youngest of my brother and my stepsister. So, like, I would hear them talk about doing stuff. I'm like, oh, I want to go to a field party, because they go to field parties,
Yeah.
So we go, and I have a bunch of people in my car, and we're going out there, and it's probably like 120 something in Antioch. Mm-hmm. On the Kansas side.
Right.
And at that time, there were no houses. And so we go out to this field, and we're driving, and all of a sudden, a rock hits my window and shatters my passenger window. And the girl on the passenger side's like, oh my God, turn around. She brought you out here to hurt you. And I'm like, what? And she's like, she set you up. She had us bring you out here. Well, the only reason she said something is because it hit her in the face. The glass shattered and hit her in her face. So then, to preserve herself, she's going to tell me the truth.
Oh, my God.
So we turned around, we went back, and I was like, I can't go home. I have like very strict parents. So I was like, I cannot go home. My dad is going to kill me. So I go back to her apartment, and I'm on the phone with my sister-in-law, and I'm like, hey, can I come to your house? Will you let me come over? This is what just happened. Well, as I'm on the phone, and this is old school, okay? Corded phone.
Corded phone. The long cord.
The long cord. She comes up behind me and she pins me on the bed and she starts strangling me.
Oh, shit.
And so, like, I'm already seeing shit.
Hold on. She showed up where?
She came back to her house because we came.
To
we
the
went
girl's
back.
house?
Yeah, we went back to go get our shit.
Oh, shit.
And so, and
she followed you back?
Yeah, and we didn't have cell phones and all that back then. This was just as like beeper days, So, like, I was using their house phone to call for, to
and
a family
she was using
member.
the cord to try to take you out?
She was using her hands.
Oh,
She's
my
like full-fledged
God.
going at it,
Holy shit.
And her brother got her off of me. And so, like there was an altercation after, and like once I realized I tried to go after her and they're like, no, just go home, just leave or whatever.
Shit.
And back then, we didn't press charges against people for everything. We didn't call the police,
Yeah.
Any of that stuff. Like you just dealt with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, anyway, I ended up going home and my dad woke up the next day and he's like, why is your window broken? And I told him and he's like, I don't care about a fucking window. Like, I'm just glad you're here,
Mm-hmm.
But
so you don't think she wasn't trying to fight you? You think she was trying to kill you?
Yeah, she was trying to kill me. So then it didn't end there. So the whole entire rest of the school, she used to show up at my job.
Oh, she was
so
psycho.
I worked retail. She would go to my job, her and the girls, and they were like Amazons. Okay, I'm 5'2".
Mm-hmm.
These chicks were like 6 foot, and they would go and sit in the parking lot at my job and wait for me to come out every night.
What was the reason why? Did you ever find out?
I have no clue.
They just didn't like you?
They just didn't like me. I have that a lot. Like I literally have a whole bunch of people in Kansas City who don't like me.
Really?
And I have absolutely no idea why they don't like me. Like I don't know them like that. I'm like, did you fuck somebody that like did we date the same dude? Like
that's usually what it is.
You don't like me by association because your friend was fucking my dude, or
you're friends with somebody that's doing
But yeah, no, I mean, there was never any valid reason other than the guy that she had a crush on liked me. But I had a boyfriend. Like I wasn't even interested in the guy she's even talking about, and my boyfriend was with me at the party. So
some people just get fixated.
Yeah.
It's kind of
weird. So that was like
then you end up on an episode of Snapped.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
That's scary.
And I mean it's crazy because when you're raising kids too, like I raised I raised a lot of kids with people I've dated. And so the last group were girls and the last one was still in high school. And I mean I would always be like, you gotta watch your friends. You gotta watch people you hang out with because they'll turn on you in a heartbeat. They get jealous over random shit, and next thing you know, you're laying on a bed with your, getting strangled, getting choked out,
In line.
And so, so she continued to harass me through the school year, and then like one day, her and the group of people were gonna try and jump me at school, and I call it my David and Goliath moment, where I just like turned around and threw my books on the floor, and I was like, "Come on, bitch, let's fucking go!" I was so sick of being harassed.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, well, maybe, I might get my ass kicked, but at least it's going to be in front of a whole bunch of people.
You might get a couple.
I'm a lover. I'm not a fighter.
You might get a couple licks in too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like, and that's the thing, when people are bullying you, sometimes you got to check them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
This whole, I don't know if you have this rule. I've always hated this rule. Wait till you get hit first.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes taunting somebody enough day after day, you got to handle that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they're going to keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time, these people that do that shit, they can't fight. Like they can't. They're just. They like to
intimidate you.
Prey on people who have that victim look to them. You know what I mean? Like you said, you were shorter, so they're like, oh well, I could beat up this short girl. You know what I mean? And in reality, you pop her in the face one time, she might fall down and cry. It's just you got to stand up at some point. You can't continue to take the harassment.
Yeah, I was at that moment where I was just like, and the thing is, like, I have fought people before, but just not Amazons. Like I've never fought somebody that was
tall. Yeah, you got to reach up to them. Yeah,
like, shit, these bitches are big.
You got to jump and swing.
Yeah, I was like, this is like, I'm used to going at people my own level, not So but
so she just kept harassing you, and then it died off.
And then she put like a page in the yearbook about me, and I was like, damn. So like, all these years later, there's still a memory of me in the yearbook of.
In Kansas City's small, so you end up running across. Jesus Christ!
I know that was a big
loud.
one.
Yeah, that was loud thunder.
Yeah, no, she tried to friend me on Facebook, and I was like, I don't think we can be friends.
Yeah, sometimes if you do that, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's like sometimes people grow up and they realize how wrong they were, and they kind of want to make amends, but sometimes you just do too much damage. And
well, it
you
was
ironic.
That. She grew up to be a social worker,
psychologist,
really? And I was like, that's scary.
Holy shit!
Holy shit for you. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, you know, people change. I think the goal is to change, though. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't want that person to continually stay the same person, but then again, though. You were the victim and I wasn't, so you probably have a different thought on that. You're like, fuck that bitch.
Fuck that bitch. That's what I was like. I was telling my son that the other day because he was just like, Mom, you just seem so unbothered about everything. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I feel like I'm just at that phase of life of like, I've been through so much shit, and if it's not worth my time, like if it's not something that's directly affecting us. And when I say us, I'm like, I worry about what happens in my household.
Right.
I've even got to the point, so that we're talking, go back to setting boundaries. I've gone back to the point with family where I'm just like, I've already asked you multiple times to stop having this discussion with me about this, and you can't respect my boundaries. So we're not having conversations anymore.
Right.
We're not going to talk anymore.
Sometimes
I love you, but you don't know how to respect people. And like, I don't want to hear about you talking about other people. I don't want you telling me what's going on in their house because that has absolutely nothing to do with me.
Right.
You know, if that person wants to come and confide in me, because I will talk to anybody. Mm-hmm. I'm an ear for everybody. But they have to be the one. The source has to be the person that says, "Hey, I need somebody to talk to."
Right.
Then I'm willing to listen. I don't want to hear gossip. I don't want to hear stories. Like I'm so over that shit. Like, like one day when I had my aunt watch my house. When I was gone. And then I go to my other aunt's house and she's like, "Hey, I saved that toilet lid for you." And I was like, I don't need a toilet lid. And she's like, "Oh, well, when your aunt was over there, she called me and told me you don't have a lid on your toilet. So I saved you one."
That's random.
And I was like, okay, you're not ever going to come check my house because you're telling people I need damn toilet lids. And what it was is that my son, he didn't like the lid on his back, so he would take them off and put them on the floor. Oh, really? And I got tired of putting it on and off and on and off. And I was like, just fuck it. We're just going to leave it on the floor. And when he gets over the phase of the toilet lid not bothering him, then we'll put it back on. I was like, but see, that's what I'm saying. Like shit like that. Like it's a toilet lid.
Hey, tell him he could have grew up at a time. You remember the cushion toilet lids? Oh my. Do you remember that shit, bro?
The different colored ones. They were all like, and they had matching toilet paper too.
Dude, I used to
Did you see that?
Matching toilet paper?
Yeah. Did you grow up at that time? Or were you like too far?
No, I was born in 92.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, you didn't have the colored toilet paper. So they used to have like, I think it was like Quilted Northern. It was like had like a little girl face on the package.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And they used to have like powder blue, pink, and yellow, and I think maybe green.
Or match your toilet.
Match the toilet lid, yeah.
I just remember the cushion toilet because, man, your ass would sweat on that thing, dude, ain't it? Nah, hell no, bro. I'm good.
Well, I heard if it had a crack in it,
yeah,
that little crack would pinch your cheek.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Oh God, you're bringing me PTSD right now from that thing. Oh yeah. But
yeah, so that's how the book evolved. Was me going through that with him. Me, that was at the time that I got saved. That was where like I just really felt like it was just tell your story. Yeah. Tell your story. Don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to be used, because I would always be like, I don't understand why people use me. And then like I said, when I was in that journey, like it would be like, well, will you allow me to use you? Like, will you be a vessel for me? And so I ended up writing the book. I remember the day that it's in a pen name, which is like an author name. It's Esther Grace. And it's super confusing because people don't know that I actually am Esther Grace. They don't know it's my book. So when I try to promote it, it's like hard to get people to understand that that's actually a book I wrote. It's not, I'm not promoting somebody else's book.
Why did you do that?
Legality reasons because it had stories about the other people in the book. The publishing company didn't want to run the risk of.
Could you have altered names?
I did alter names, but they didn't believe that I altered the names. And so they were like, either you change, you do a fictitious name or we won't be able to publish it.
Really?
Yeah. So
how is that whole process going through a company like that?
One thing I can say is read your contracts. Like I'm sure that people are like, the people who do know that I wrote a book, they're probably like, oh my God, she's got all this money from her book. I think I've made like $200 or $300 from it, which I probably shouldn't be bragging about or talking about. But that's because they take the royalties. So they take the biggest chunk of the book.
Right.
So it's not because it's a bad book. It's because they're going to take their portion. So they take, their percentage, and then they take administrative fees and fees for this and fees for that. And so next thing you know, you don't have
they're
an
taking
income.
40%.
Yeah, they're taking,
That's
insane. And they actually, so like my company actually takes 75%.
Oh,
I get 25%. And then from the 25% that I would get, they take the administrative fees.
Well, if you write a second book, please don't do that.
Yeah, I know. That's why that's also, I've got like 2 or 3 books in my.
That's good.
In my process going, but I just.
Yeah, because what do you need them for? I mean, what do they do? I mean, I know I'm sure they're the ones that have all the context to get the book printed and,
Well, so they say, and then I still had to pay a marketing package and
really?
I don't feel like it was I feel like if people can self-publish, if they could figure out how to do self-publishing,
the beauty of
do
YouTube,
it, or
how to self-publish a book.
I YouTube everything now.
Oh yeah,
everything.
YouTube University.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It helps me out with that's why I have this podcast. Literally, like, I mean, I didn't know how to do any of this shit. Yeah. I've always enjoyed podcasts. I've been listening to them since like 2012, 2013, somewhere around there. And, changed my whole view on life. And I was like, man, one day, I want to try to do something like that. And I was like, where the hell am I going to start? And just YouTube, you start YouTube and shit, and you go down a rabbit hole, and then all of a sudden you have this.
Yeah. Well, and like, I mean, that's, when I tell people, and that's another thing, like when I'm just like, I feel like I get promptings, right, of things to do. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Well, it doesn't have to make sense. And that is part of my platform. That is part of the message that I'm trying to put out there is, right. Faith of the mustard seed. You just have to put your foot forward. It doesn't have to make sense to you. Like, I mean, I can go back, on my blog, I have one that's called The Rock of Remembrance. And what it is like that particular blog post is about all of the things that seemed impossible in the moment. And then when I look back, like I had taken a collection of rocks of where it was like the prompting and then me taking the action and it actually turning out better and coming to fruition better than what I thought it would. Because I was going on my own thought process of my own skill. What I thought I was capable of. And then when I, like the book, I've sold a lot of books. It's just, I haven't made a lot of profit from those books.
That's
and
unfortunate. But on the next one, so.
Yeah, on the next one. And that's what, like, I've worked with coaches and they, they'll say like, it may not be the first one. You may do a second or a third one. And then the third one, like somebody reads it and they're like, oh, wait, she has 2 more, let's go back and get those.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Do you think it'll be on something, same kind of premise or? Or do you think you're going to try to go to something different?
I know, like, I'm not trying to do like the romance or like the, like that's like the thing right now is like.
But what speaks to you? Like what's kind of your thing?
Mine is healing and helping people through the grief journey and just trying to find the silver lining. Like you said, I mean, like there's people who have gone through, sexual assault or something. Like there is nothing pretty about that.
No.
But my goal is also to help people to, well, you had mentioned your mom, your mom losing two parents and that she doesn't really talk about it. And that's the thing is that in the generations of past, they didn't talk about it. They shoved it all down. They have addictions because addictions of any kind of sort. It doesn't have to just be
Right.
alcohol and drugs, but they're suppressing what they feel, and then it explodes somewhere else. It's like they're like explosions happening everywhere, but nobody really knows the root cause of why. My thing is, I would rather talk about it. And I saw something the other day on TikTok, and it said it was like a girl saying she met a guy in a bar, and he was like, I would rather you talk about your grief and have you here than you not talk about it and not have you here. And that's what I'm really trying to get out there. I'm trying to get the message out of, like, you don't have to, like, when I talk about my mom in my grief journey, I'm not speaking of it anymore from a place of hurt. I have moments of hurt, but I can see the beauty in the life that I had with her. I can see the beauty and the growth that I've had as I've gone through the journey. I've had a lot of detours. I've done things. I have done things that, you know, like, I could have been so much further along. But my biggest barrier was me. Right. You know? And so if I can speak to somebody and just say, like, you already are the greatest version of you right now. You're going to continue to grow. You're going to continue to evolve into different versions of yourself that you haven't even met. And you know, when you look back, like, I look back at my younger self and I'm like, I am so proud of you. You're a fucking badass. That's why I wear my chingona shirt all the time. My chingona shirt is like, you're a badass. Most people would have not have been able to make it through the things that you've made it through. And here you are. And not only are you healing, but you're trying to bring others with you. You want to reach down and grab hands, or reach out, whatever, and grab hands and say, I want to hear your story. That's what the podcast is, Mishaps and Miracles. I want to hear your story. I want you to feel comfortable enough in transparency, in the truth. And you know, I've already been reaching out to people, and I'm like, if you're willing to talk about your story, I want to hear it. Yeah. You know, because it helps others. It helps others. Like, I have a cousin. He's well, you know, once you're an alcoholic, you're always an alcoholic, but he doesn't drink anymore. He has been clean for about 2 or 3 years. But what do you mean, once you're an alcoholic, you're always... They label you, once you're an alcoholic, you're always an alcoholic. Really? Yeah. So I wonder why they label it like that. I don't know. That's because once you stop drinking, I feel like you wouldn't be an alcoholic anymore. You'd be a recovering alcoholic or a previous alcoholic. Yeah, that's true. But it's the labels. I mean, it's the labels that people put on. Yeah. And it's almost an identity, too. I've noticed that about people. Yeah. Like, if they were an alcoholic, it's always like, yeah, I'm 10 years sober. Yeah. It's like almost becomes an identity for them, not just to just let it go and let it be the past. That is a good point that you brought up, because I feel like, I mean, like, if you think about your life and when you tell your life story, what are the things that you always tell people about yourself? Like, what are the first 2 or 3 things that you always tell somebody about yourself that they didn't even ask you about? You know, like, I literally have that question, because I'm like, I know people. I'm like going a blank right now. I don't know what I usually tell them. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. One to think about. Yeah. It's like, I mean, normally when I'm in conversation, I guess I'm not usually, it's just you're talking, you know, so I don't know what I usually go to, but I mean, usually always being brought up that I'm a father. I mean, that, you know, my kids usually get brought up, you know, but something personal about me, I don't know. I mean, I usually just kind of talk about my hobbies and what I do. I mean, that's pretty much it. But usually I'm the one asking other people questions too. So, which is why you have a podcast. Probably. Right? Yeah. Because even the ones I've been on, like, don't get me wrong, I can talk about stuff, but I don't really talk about myself, just because I've never felt like anything in my life has really been anything monumental to discuss. I mean, I've been through probably a lot of the same shit you have, and a lot of other people have too. But like, even the drinking stuff, it's like, you know, I used to drink like crazy. I mean, we have a mutual friend, Zoem. She knows that, you know, I used to drink. I used to drink pretty hard. So I've been to a lot of their parties. But like, I don't look at that as my identity. You know, I've done a lot of drugs. I don't look at that as like you know, that's me. That was just something I went through in life, you know. But like with my cousin, so he would drink a lot, and like, he had warnings, you know, he had warnings. He kept getting hospitalized, and So finally, he ended up getting hospitalized, and they were like, "You're in liver failure, like full liver failure." He had just turned 40, and they're like, "You're in full liver failure, and if you drink anymore, you're gonna die." And he was on the transplant list. He was diagnosed with liver cancer. So he immediately like stopped. And
I didn't even know you could be on the transplant list if you were an alcoholic.
Well, if you're actively drinking, you can't. So there's like a whole process you have to go to be on the transplant list.
Yeah, because they don't want you to mess the next one
So he started doing the whole entire process, and then we're like, "Oh, well, you don't have cancer after all, so you're not eligible to be on the transplant list." But he still has liver failure.
Oh shit!
So that's.
So what happens?
So he just takes care of himself the best that he can. But like, he's a perfect person that I would love to have on there because like
he's still alive. Oh,
yeah,
so he's
okay. We talk about it, and he's just like, I mean, he's like, "Shit, we used to party and kick it. We used to have so much fun, And he's like, "But this is what happened, He's like, so I'm not telling people like it is not a judgment or like telling people, but he's like, this is just one of those like FYI, this is what could happen, if you keep going.
Yeah. But people need that shit.
Yeah, and
because
so that's
in the moment you don't know, and then
yeah.
It's good to see a story of, oh shit, that's 20 years from now, that guy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Dealing with liver failure. Because that's the realities. It's all fun and games for a while, but then it's not cute anymore.
Fun. Yeah, it's like it's all fun when you're doing it, but
yeah, because I've lost not lost, but like just to drugs, a handful of people, and it's sad. You know what I mean? To see that. And, sometimes I'm like, damn, you were there with them doing a lot of that shit too. That could have been you, man. And thank God it wasn't. But, it's just, I don't know. That's a whole mess, that whole party life scene. And, this guy knows. He's out there all the time at Westport,
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell him. I'm like, hey, man, your days are numbered. How old are you, Joy? Yeah, 27, dude. You're still
in the prime of fun.
Yeah, he's still in that phase. But I told him, I was like, once you start hitting the 30s, though, man, it's not cute anymore.
I'm like 2.5 years away from 50.
Yeah. Well,
so,
at 40.
But I can say like that. I mean, like you say though.
But were you doing this in your 40s too?
No.
That's what I'm saying. So,
no, I stopped around like
probably
the
30s.
Hardcore partying 30, and then I kept drinking. Up until I was
drinking it to a point.
Yeah,
but like
I still have drinks, but I don't drink like,
And we all have those occasional moments, we get a little loose.
I'm praying to the porcelain god, sitting there being like, I will never do this again. And that's a lie. And then like the next day they're like, hey, you want to go out again? Yeah. Yes, I do.
But it's like doing it every weekend or every day. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's like another thing, moderation, moderation to everything.
And that's the thing. Like my son was, we were talking yesterday to a friend of his, and he dealt with alcoholism with his mom, and they're the same age, 12. Mm-hmm. And he was telling me how that was for him. And, he was like, have you ever seen your mom drunk? He asked my son. He's like, no. He's like, she drinks. She gets with it. He goes like, you get buzzed, right, Mom? I was like, yeah, I get buzzed.
You can't beat a nice buzz.
But I have like a rule, like I don't drink and drive when he's in the car. Like if he's with me,
right.
Like if I go to a party, I'll just go without because I'm his only parent.
Right.
He doesn't have somebody else that's going to take care of him if something happens to me. I'm it.
God forbid.
And so it's a lot of responsibility, and I go without a lot, but he's worth the sacrifice.
Right.
He's worth me. And I did like he was like, I was like, oh, I kicked it because I surprisingly got pregnant with him when I was 35, and so like. I told him, he was like, Mom, he goes, do you ever feel bad because you want to go party and kick it? And I was like, no.
Sorry,
I was like, no. I was like, I'm good. I had a good time before I got pregnant with you. So no, I was like, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm about to say 35. That's, later in age. So it's like you had your whole life.
Yeah. I mean, like there isn't anything I didn't do. I traveled, and that's, growing up, being in a Mexican household, like all my friends all had kids when they were 18, 19, 20.
Yeah.
They were all married, and I would go to my grandma and I'd be like sad, and she'd be like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I'm not married. I don't have any kids. And she'd be like, you're lucky. Yeah. And I'd be like,
that was always a running joke whenever you went to a quinceañera. You're like, is she pregnant?
I know, right? She's next,
Is she next?
Yeah. I always say that too. I'm just like, I still do that. I'm just like, it just could be a couple years and she'll be next. But,
and it's sad too, because it's like 15, you know? I mean, I know people who have had kids at 15. And it's like,
yeah.
I mean, I had mine at 18, you know, that was not fun, you know, and that the fact of having the child, you know, is beautiful, but afterwards when, you know, you have to go through all the shit, it's overwhelming.
And I tell people, like, whenever they're just like, you act like you have something whenever people tell you they have kids and they're young. I was like, no. I was like, all I'm thinking is, I know how I was at that age. I know at what age I feel like if I would have had a kid, I'd be like, oh, okay, cool. But my whole 20s, I mean, there's times I would go look in the garage and I would be like, damn, my car's in there. Like, I drove home, you know. I had a good time.
Yeah.
I had a good time. And, you know, I feel like that when you have kids, when you're younger, you grow up with them.
Yeah.
You know, like, and you may look back and say, I regret, or I wish I would have done something different, but you didn't know to do something different. You were young. You didn't know that you were supposed to be doing something different, you know? You're just, that was part of your evolution.
Right.
You growing up and figuring it out that, like, Because like I said, like 21-year-old me, even 19-year-old me, 14-year-old me, you know, like I look back and I'm like, damn, if I was her mom...
Shit.
If I was her mom.
I know. I've only started getting it together like the last, I don't know, maybe 3-4 years. I mean, I've had a couple bumps still, but in the road. But yeah, my 20s, man. I mean, I always made sure I went to work. I always made sure I brought home money. You know what I mean? Like, that was always a given. I always made sure I gave my daughter everything, my attention, you know, my time. I was there, you know what I mean? Because I know how that is. You know, I grew up, my biological father, you know, was not in my life, left me at like 1 years old, I think. Fortunately, I had a father who stepped in and took over that role, who is my father to this day, and provided for the family and my mother. But it's like, I never wanted my kids to feel that emptiness. And even though I didn't know for 14 years, you know, my mom held it from me because she kind of felt like, you know, I don't know, she decided to go that route, whether or not it's the right or wrong route, you know.
I don't think it's survival too. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and you know, she, you know, you're put in a sticky situation. You know, I think about that a lot. I think what she did isn't wrong. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of, I don't think there's a right or wrong either way you go with it. No. It's like, you know, she did what she thought was right, you know, and whether or not I should have been told at a very young age or whether or not I should have been told at 14, you know, I mean, it is what it is. You know, she did the best she could. That's one thing I've been trying to focus on a lot now is like, I think it was Jordan Peterson who said it, and I've probably said this before, but like the first step to recovering is forgiving your parents, you know, because a lot of the times, and I hear it even from people my age or people older, or even myself at times, it's like you want to blame your parents. And it's like, why? You know what I mean?
It's easy to blame somebody for so long. And then after a certain point, like you said, you know, like, then it starts to be like, okay, well, these decisions, like, I'm an adult now. Like, I have to make decisions that are best for me and my family.
And that, but
and
also,
even though, like, I mean, even that though, you may make a decision that you think is the right decision.
Right.
And then you're like, damn, I fucked up again. You know, like, I still do that.
And I can't speak for everybody. Like we've discussed, different situations, you know what I mean? So I'm not saying this is for everybody, but for me, and I know how I was raised, it's like, why am I going to always come back to, well, I wish they would have done this. You know what I mean? When they were trying to figure this shit out too, life.
Yep.
We don't have a fucking book on this. I mean, there's a lot of books out there. You got to go find them, go read them. They're easier now because on YouTube, or on TikTok, everyone's got to read these 5 books and you'll be the smartest individual in the world.
Will you?
Yeah. And honestly, and they do give some good titles to read. So I've read, you know, I'll see some of these TikToks or reels and I'll save them and usually I'll listen to them. But so, yeah, it's a lot easier nowadays. But we're talking about they're raising kids in the 90s. You know what I mean? Like, there wasn't a whole lot available, you know, and who knows what they went through. You know what I mean? Like, scars get passed down.
Well,
you know?
And that's the thing. Like, I would say, like, in the last year, it's been like eye-opening because, like, I apparently I didn't listen in school.
Yeah.
Because I just like learned like last year or the year before that women couldn't own houses or bank accounts or have any financial independence at all until 1974.
Really?
And so like I sit here and I think because my grandma was
fact check that, Jane.
Yeah, go ahead. It was like 1974 they could have a bank account, and then like maybe 1975 or 6 they were able to get a mortgage on their own without a man.
I wonder if that was nationwide or per state.
No, it was nationwide.
Really?
Yeah, that was an American law.
Really?
And so and it kind of was like, so I was born in 77 for a point of reference. So it kind of was eye-opening because when I would look back at like some of my other family members and they were not in good domestic situations, and you know, like because we were liberated and because we had rights growing up that they didn't have, like our question was always like, well, why the hell would you stay? Like my grandma, she came from Mexico. She met my grandpa. He was 25 years older than her, which is like a whole nother story.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And so
do I want to know when he actually met her?
She was 26.
Oh, okay.
But still,
yeah,
I'm always like, how did you do that? And she's like, well, he was handsome.
Well, always back in the day.
But back in the day, it was about being provided for, you know, like that was what the goal was, is you find somebody who can take care of you. And
yeah, it was almost like a survival.
Yeah, it was survival. Yeah. And so, but then like my grandpa passed away like in 1974, which would have been the year that the law came into pass. And my grandma built and bought her first house by herself in 1976. And when I've always had my own everything. Like I've owned 2 homes by myself. And that's not bragging. That was survival again. Like, you know, my dad was like, don't rent, buy a house, you know, so that you're living in your investment.
Right. Yeah. It's not going towards nothing.
You know, like, yeah. And so that's what I did because that's what my dad told me to do. My dad's a financially intelligent person. So I was like, well, if he's doing good, then I'm going to listen to him. My stepmom, you know, she was a single mother. She came from an abusive family. She was a single mother through her daughter's upbringing, and she raised me. You don't need a man for anything. Be independent. Have your own money. Take care of yourself. And so, like, I don't know that was exactly the right way to be brought up either. Because,
I think a mix of it, you know, because some people can go a little extreme. Right. You know, you've got this like boss bitch era of like, I'll do everything myself. I don't need one at all. And as well as you have on the male side, you have this alpha male shit. You know what I mean? We don't need women, blah, blah. I don't know what it is with human beings in extremes, but it's like the pendulum can never just steady sit in the center. It's always got to be on one side or the other. And it's like, why don't we just have a little bit of both? You know, you can be an independent and whatever, you know, financial independence and be vocal about the things you want. And as well as, you know, you can be the same. You both can do the same and then share happiness with one another. Right. But we always feel like we have to play these certain roles. And even though some of the roles do fit, it's like, just do what's best for you two. Right. You know for the house, for the... Like, whatever you guys want to live, like, if you want to live traditional, live traditional. If you want to live more on a modern thought process, live modern. Whatever floats you, whatever helps you guys. You know what I mean? You don't, nothing's cookie cutter. Yeah. You know, there's good foundation. There's good ideas to build off of. But ultimately, when you guys meet each other, that's the vetting process, is getting to know your likes and dislikes.
Well, but is that really the vetting process in most cases?
Well, no, most people don't vet. You know, I'm guilty of it as well. I'm sure you've been there.
Most of the time, you're just trying to have a good time. Yeah, and then you end up, you're like, oh, we live together now.
That is. Yay! But if we could start making that a trend, a larger discussion, you know, something popular to do. You know, fucking make a dance and say this shit. You know, I mean, that's what they do on TikTok. You know, like anytime they want to sell a trend, it's like there's always some fucking chick in the background dancing or a group of dudes doing a whole choreographed routine. So if you guys can make something like that and push more positive trends, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, because my thing is like, I tell people all the time, I'm like, okay, I know what life I live, and I'm sure that there's a perception that people have of me. I was like,
well, they're only seeing the highlights on Instagram.
But I was like, this was not I was like, had it all planned out. I was going to get married. I was going to have kids. I was going to be a domestic goddess.
Oh.
And
what the hell is a domestic goddess?
You know, like housewife, and like my husband was going to go to work and I was going to stay home and raise kids and cook and, you know, like leave it to Beaver type thing. And so that was why half of the dilemma of why I was always crying to my grandma, because I was like, everybody else is doing it that way. And then my grandma would say, you're not meant to be like everybody else. Whoa. She would say, it's okay to be different.
But that's what you wanted, though.
Which was weird because coming from an old school Mexican woman, you would expect that she would be like, oh, you should be having some babies and cooking. And
stay at home.
And she would be like, oh, no. She said, don't be in a hurry to get married. She's like, you'll find the right person at the right time.
Oh, I agree with that, though.
And I
Take
do.
your time.
I do. Yeah. And so she would be like, you'll find the right person. And then she's like, but in the meantime, she goes, I got married when I was very young. She goes, so as a favor for me, she goes, will you travel and get your education and save your money and
sounds like mom,
buy your house? And but my grandma was also an orphan.
Yeah.
So that also was like, you know, when you talk about generational lineage and things that get passed down. Well, like,
my mom wasn't an orphan, but
I mean, like, I'm like,
she lost both her parents.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's kind of innocent.
Yeah.
I mean, but she was an adult by then. But
so my grandma was like young.
Oh, she called her a step monster. Yeah. She'll like that one.
Step monster.
Yeah.
So
it's always the stepmom that gets all the heat.
Oh yeah, I was like a stepmom for a little while in my last relationship, and like,
does that dynamic ever work? I always just hear horror stories.
It's hard. It's just really hard. Because
I feel like there'd be a lot of fighting between like you and the dad. Or,
so like, okay, it was kind of weird because
it's like, where's the boundaries here?
The parents got along, but the kids were always like trying to like play on everybody.
Right.
Like they would go back and tell their mom that I was saying things
smart.
Or doing things to them, or you
Try to
won't let them
deals
do
in.
that.
Yeah.
And then like they would come and tell me that their mom was a horrible person and that she was abusive and she did this and she did that. But the next thing you know, like, hail to the queen, you know, it was so confusing. I would say that would be the word that I would use. My stepmom, I tell her all the time, I'm sorry. Like after I had that experience, I'm like, I am so sorry for being difficult with you. I was like, funny. You were trying to do the best that you could with somebody else's kids. And
yeah, it's gotta be
weird.
You know,
it's hard to like, it's hard to have that same connection with like, I mean, she became our stepmom when I was like 13. And like, it's hard to raise somebody else's kid when you haven't had them from the beginning.
Yeah. They're already kind of set.
Like the first kiddo that I had with me.
Like if you were 5,
he was 3. Different. He was 2 or 3 when I started raising him. It was easy to love him. He was still a baby. You know what I mean? The older girls, I loved them, but it was like just a constant struggle, like me trying to do what was best for them. But then they thought I was trying to keep them from doing things and that I was, you know, restricting them from having a life. And of course, like they were raised different. Their mom raised them one way. I raised them a different way. Mm-hmm. I was raising them based on the way I was raised. And I was raised strict. I'm not going to lie. Like my parents were strict with me, but I also feel like when I finally got right and I started aligning and making better decisions, it was what they taught me when I was younger that helped me get back on track.
Right.
You know, like, okay.
Do you think religion helped you change?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And
what do you
so
identify
I'm not going to say religion is not the word I like to use because I feel like religion is restrictive.
So you're not a Catholic anymore?
I'm a Christian.
Christian. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not a practicing Catholic, which I'm probably like half my community is probably going to disown me now for saying that. But
you think so? You think it's that strongly nowadays?
My neighbor told me, she was like, I found out. Hispanic culture.
Yeah, but just like you said, half of them.
But I live in a Hispanic community.
Half of them don't even fucking know what it is, though.
No,
like they just show up to church and maybe once in a blue moon, and then just say, "Oh, I'm Catholic." They wear a cross chain.
And that's where my problem came with it. Was like, I know what you keep telling me,
right?
But I know what you keep showing me.
And I'm not trying to shit on anybody that does that. I don't give a fuck what you do. Whatever makes you a better human being. My thing is like, why would you disown somebody because of that?
Well, I mean, but that goes into like them disowning people for being gay or lesbian, or they date a black person, and
shit don't make any sense.
You know, I mean, like
it's just like the debate they're having with the Israel-Gaza conflict, and thank God for Dave Smith on this issue, because he's like, if you guys are so Christian as you claim to fucking be, you should be outraged that there's babies getting blown up underneath
so
buildings.
This is my big one. This is my big one right now.
But war is ugly. So we hide behind that.
How many people made the decision that they made because they're pro-life, but you're okay with adults getting slaughtered? Mm-hmm. You're okay with feeding adults to alligators, or
I don't get it.
You know,
it's
wars.
Weird.
The wars across. And so to me, in my mind, it's like it's not jiving, because I know what I represent.
Yeah.
What I say I represent is love. It's unity. It's kindness. It's going and getting the outcast, because that is what we're taught. If we're following what Jesus did,
I think it's that. But
he's the one chilling with the dude at the bar.
Yeah. I think ultimately what people need to stop doing, because you can get lost in kindness as well, because some people over fucking do it. We see this a lot in politics as well. It's good to be kind, but there's got to be boundaries. What I think ultimately it should be is just leave people alone. Mm-hmm. And I think with leaving people alone and allowing people to live their life the way they want, in the communities that they desire, or being helped by their either helping themselves or their communities helping one another. These are the things that we should be allowing people to do. Like if we were to have that mindset, instead of always trying to control things, and we see it from both sides. We see it within individuals, like ourselves. You know, we tend to want to control things and make things in what we believe is the right way. And if we could just stop, let people live the one life that they fucking have. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like you understand death, you understand loss. If we could do that, I think the world would be completely different, you know?
Which is exactly why I say I have the boundary now of I don't want to hear other people's shit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want you talking to me about other people. Like, they're doing the best that they can in their life and their situation. And I don't want you coming and telling me that you think that they're this or that, because that's your opinion. Like I posted something the other day and it said like, opinion is the biggest form of ignorance. Like you not understanding somebody's situation and you're putting your mouth on it. You know, like you have no idea what's going on behind closed doors. Like I said, there's a perception with me that, you know, people are like, oh, well, she travels a lot. Oh, well, she does this a lot. Well, she does that a lot. Okay, well, I also come from a place of, we don't know what our last day is. Mm-hmm. I'm going to enjoy my life. I work my ass off. Like right now I have, you know, a full-time job. I've been there 25 years. Mm-hmm. Before I had my kiddo, I always had 2 or 3 jobs. Mm-hmm. You know, that's what I would.
So do you work with Zoe? Or do you just know her?
We met each other.
I thought you guys said that you guys had I thought you told me in the message that you guys work together, but you just know each other.
We just know each other from actually from grief.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So from that experience.
Because she lost her.
Yeah. So from that experience. So not personal, like not that personal experience, but just the experience of grief.
I remember when that happened too, down at the shop off Crystal. Yeah, that shit was very sad. Yeah. Very sad.
So at that time, again, I was in the process of like just refiguring life and just trying to figure out what my place was and what was my purpose and what should I be doing, you know? And like you say, like the biggest part of it is let people be who they are.
Right.
Let people be who they are.
Yeah, if it ain't hurting nobody, who
I mean,
cares?
like you can nudge people, like you said, you know, you can give constructive criticism and be like, hey, you know, I've kind of seen this pattern and I just, you know, I'm worried about you.
Or how about this? If you don't fucking like it, just don't hang out with the person.
And that's what I've done. I've cut a lot of people off just because I'm like, I don't.
But this is what the issue is that if you don't like something, it doesn't matter what it is they don't like about that individual. If he doesn't like to hang out with this person because for whatever reason, allow him to. But we get caught in this thing to where like, we want to force people. You got to work together. No, stop forcing people to work together. This is on everything.
Yeah. It's like, no, you
on
don't.
Everything in life. And I know it may sound cruel because you may not like why that person doesn't want to hang out with them, but it doesn't matter. Because when you force shit, you know how that shit is. It's not going to work at all.
I have so when the family member that I told you that kept overstepping boundaries.
Yeah.
And so every time they'll be like, have you talked to so-and-so or how's so-and-so doing? I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't talk to them anymore. And they're like, the look of dissatisfaction, that is so horrible. And I'm like, hey, I'm protecting my peace.
And who knows?
And I'm not going to,
maybe 5 years down the road.
Yeah.
Maybe 5 years, maybe 5 years down the road, you'll come back. You know what I mean? It's never, depends on the situation. I don't know your situation.
It's ongoing since childhood, so it's probably not. But.
On some matters, we'll say some. You just let it cool down and then maybe revisit it one day. You never know. You know what I mean? There's people I've cut off. There's people that, I may not talk to until, who knows? Me and my buddy Dom, who actually runs the board. We go years without talking to one another. Not because we don't like each other. We don't have any issues at all. But sometimes you just kind of go your own path and you'll come back. And maybe you won't. Who knows?
No, hey.
Value every time you have with them because it might be the last.
That is no joke because so I had my best friend that I had in 7th grade. It's when I had changed schools. So after my mom passed away, she passed away the summer before me going into 6th grade.
Right.
And I was in private school. And then when the following year, my dad changed schools and he put me in public school in our community. And I rode the bus and then I ended up finding my best friend. She rode my bus and we hadn't talked in 25, 26 years. And I ran into her brother. I ran into her brother and I was like, hey, give her my number, and it wasn't because we got into, there was no bad anything that happened. It's just that her life went one way and my life went another way. And she's not on social media. So we just lost track of each other. And I mean, we talk and we pick up just exactly where we were at. We, filled each other in about what happened in the 20 something years and damn girl,
Is that weird whenever, seeing people from back then, back through your childhood? How many people do you run across, to this day currently?
I see a lot of
we
people.
used to know each other 30 years ago, 25 years ago.
Most of the people I know because...
from high school?
From childhood, a grade school. I mean, I still have people that I see that I went to grade school with.
Really? I don't remember
our community is very tight-knit. So, so our community...
Where's this at?
Argentine.
Okay.
So my grandparents, my grandmother and her generation, like I said, she's 25 years younger than my grandfather. So her and her age group people came together. And so they pretty much migrated into one neighborhood.
Oh,
and so a lot of the families, generationally grew up together. So their kids grew up together, my dad and all his friends, all of their friends, we all grew up, their friends' kids, we all grew up together. Our kids still grow up together, kind of, but, and then people moved away to other neighborhoods. But I mean, if we see each other, it's do you remember when we used to hang out, watching Sesame Street when our parents were partying, Yeah.
I know. I've ran into people that but a lot of times I don't remember. I don't have much memory from high school. And
so pretty much everybody in my neighborhood, those families knew my mom.
Right.
They personally knew my mom.
But also I don't feel because I was born on the west side and I lived there until... Oh, fuck. I don't know. When did we move here? Mid-elementary school? So it's fairly early. and I see the community down there and how close knit it can be.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like up north in the suburbs, you just don't really have that.
Yeah, because we lived in Argentina when I was little, and then my mom got sick. She couldn't function in our house anymore, so we moved to Shawnee.
Right.
And then we lived there. My parents still live out south. Mm-hmm. But we lived there, and like our neighbor, like we lived on a cul-de-sac, so our neighbors knew each other, but like we didn't know the people behind us. We didn't know the people down the street. I might have randomly knew people just because I'm friendly and I would be riding my bike and like I always gravitated. Well,
that's the thing. It's like you remember, like I remember the people. Ain't it, Julian? Like if you think about it, well, I guess you've always lived up north, but
I know people.
No, but like, do you feel like there was a sense of community? You kind of went to the same schools growing up.
Yeah, you'd be outside all the time down there.
I know, but I'm talking about you.
Oh, like me growing up?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, people from school.
Yeah, but do you feel like you guys have a pretty close? I mean, you got like your friend Alan and all them that.
I'm still friends with my friends from high school.
Yeah, but like, do you know their parents and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, I met them.
Yeah.
But we're not like.
I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe I was a freaking weirdo. I don't know.
But it's funny because like
I am kind of weird.
Like with my brother, like I said, my brother being completely introverted, like he doesn't go to bars, he doesn't go party with everybody. He
that's just weird.
Takes care of his kids. Yeah. He stays home. He does his own thing by himself. He goes to work.
I admire that.
And I feel like it takes a lot of discipline because I remember when he was younger and like people from our community who I'm talking about that I still see, and they'd be like, where's your brother? He never wants to come out. I'd be out. They would see me all the time. Like, we see you all the time. And where's your brother? And I'm like, he doesn't do that. But, my dad didn't either. So I think that he just sees that from example. And like, now I'm not saying my dad didn't ever, hang out or party or whatever. But like, you think about it. The majority of my life, my mom was sick.
Right.
So when she got sick, he stopped going and partying and hanging out all the time. Now, when I was
probably put a big strain on the relationship, didn't it?
I don't. I never asked him that. Honestly.
No, like having to deal with her like wounds and stuff like that.
Oh,
I'm sure that could have got
there was definitely like
that. That's like a constant reminder that did they know she was going to die, or they just knew nothing about it?
Yeah, when she got diagnosed, they told her it was terminal. So
So how long does that give you?
7 years.
So he had to knowingly and you as well, and, us, and your brother,
yeah.
But it's like that's because I'm thinking of a husband perspective. It's like if you're watching this woman that you love, like just deteriorate before your eyes,
and they had
and literally physically, it's not like it's inside.
Yeah.
Like you said, it was coming out on her legs, and oh my God, that had to have been.
And
like,
I mean, my mom
horrible.
was gorgeous before she got. I mean, I'm not saying,
but just the fact that he's like, I'm not only do I know she's going to die, I have to watch her suffer. That's got to be
every day.
Just oh God,
yeah,
yeah,
like, and that's like that takes us back. So like my dad, he was in the military, so he went through some veteran stuff, and one of the requirements was that he had to go to counseling, and like
oh really,
and so he came back because I started counseling when I was 19.
He served in Vietnam, or is he just in the military?
He was in Vietnam, but he was in Hawaii.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he he gave me a really hard time.
A lot of people wish they would have went to Hawaii. Now that I'm thinking about it. Like, fuck, dude.
Yeah. So he used to give me crap because that's another stigma in the Hispanic community is like you don't talk about your problems.
Oh yeah.
You keep that shit in the house. You
like
don't talk about
old school mentality.
Yeah. And so when I was 19, well, like when we were growing up, I don't know when the rule changed about the insurance, but like when we turned 18, if you didn't go to college or you didn't have a full-time job, you got kicked off your parents' insurance.
I thought isn't that still how it is?
It's like 26 now.
But you have to go to college though, right? No, do you have to stay on insurance?
No.
No.
Dental, medical they can have until they're 26, but like dental they get kicked off of if they don't go to college.
Oh, really?
So you can have bad teeth.
Don't get me started on fucking insurances right now. The scam that is. All right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
I'm tell you about this story I just heard too.
So I ended up enrolling myself in therapy when I was 19, and my dad found out, and he was like, "What are you doing? Why are you doing that?" And I was like, "Well, my therapist wants me to want you to come to one of the sessions with me.
Mm-hmm.
So he ended up going with me, like, reluctantly. And then we went, and then, like, but years later, he ended up doing it on his own. And he came back and he was like, I am so sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I should have done this for all of us, you know, when it happened. But we didn't know any better. Again, you know, like that whole, like, hindsight 2020, you know, I mean, this is like
everybody always has hindsight.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a 60 something year old man being like, I messed up here,
right?
You know, and I'm like, it's cool, you know, I did my thing on my own. I was like, and you know, you gave me all that shit, like, and my dad and I have a dark sense of humor relationship too. You gave me all that
Kinda
shit about it, and look, you know, and like he's always like. He's like, oh my God. He's like, you're a mess. And I was like, I know I'm your mess though, so it doesn't matter. You know, I am your mess.
Well, sometimes, you know, life isn't fucking going to be ever just some smooth road. It's always going to be, there's always going to be bumps. It fucking sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So it is sometimes best just to laugh about it.
Yeah.
Because the only other two choices are cry or be mad. And those are not good. Trust me. I used to be mad about life all the time through my 20s. And maybe even earlier, I always dealt with like an issue with just being angry all the time. And, you know, the more and more I get older, the more I'm trying to work on that, just that release, you know, but it takes a lot. You got to do a lot of things, you know, and one thing's not going to fix it. It's like it's like a tool belt of things that you have to use to, you know, almost like medicate yourself in a way, but not with like pills.
Well, I think that people healing can come in many different forms. Like, I know I've watched some of your episodes, and I know you do jujitsu.
Yeah, jujitsu. Yeah.
You know, and I mean, like, you know, when you asked me, so you had originally asked me, was religion the thing that changed me? And like, I would say a relationship with God. I don't look at it like the religious rules. It's just kind of like, every day I wake up, first thing I say is, you know, thank you for letting me be here. Thank you for waking me up today. Thank you that I'm healthy. Thank you that, like, I start off with gratitude, you know, whereas before, like you said, I mean, I spent the majority of my life being mad.
Right.
And it took so much out of me in many different relationships and many in my health and everything, because I was just angry and I had all this emotion, misplaced emotion. It was sadness. But, you know, like they say, your anger is not an emotion. It's a secondary emotion. So there's always something that comes before that's your actual primary emotion that is causing the anger. So like for me, you know, a lot of times people, when they're scared, they're angry. When people are sad, and which was mine, I had internal sadness, but walking around with a smile on my face all the time. But I was dying inside.
Right.
You know, and so like having that intimate relationship where I would be like, you know, every day, it's just like, and it's funny because I used to joke around and say I had an imaginary best friend when I was little. But like now I'm like, well, I finally figured out who my imaginary best friend was, you know? And so like, I still say I have an imaginary best friend. It's not something or somebody that people can see.
Right.
But it's somewhere I go for comfort. You know, and like I've done like different coaching sessions and different things with people. And I met a lady and she calls it Gus, because sometimes you don't want to like throw your beliefs on somebody, and you want somebody to have the freedom to express their belief system, you know, and it's God, universe, and spirit. Some people will say the universe manifest, you know, they're manifesting because the universe told them, or, you know, higher power, or the divine, you know, and whatever word you want to call it. Like I always tell people, like call it whatever you want to.
Whatever makes you a good person.
Right. And so matters. With me, it's like an accountability check, you know, like I immediately, like when I first started my journey in 2007, 8, I was just a hot mess express, and I'd be like, I don't want to do this because this is just, it was too much accountability.
Right.
And now it's like, sometimes, like you say, when, you know, when I have a judgment against somebody, and then like, I'll hear them like, well, didn't you just do? And I'm like, damn it. Okay. You know, checked me. I'll be like, I got checked again. Like I tell people, you know, and I call God Big Daddy sometimes.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So I'll be like, Big Daddy just checked me. Whoa. And they're like,
Might want to be careful saying that.
No, I mean,
around
like,
people.
you know, but like, that is my,
Hey, Big Daddy.
Hey, Big Daddy,
Whoa.
you know. But the boss.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what that means in my world, not the sexual.
Yeah,
Big Daddy.
I was
Not
saying
the
that was kind of
yeah,
sexual.
Not the sexual. Part, no.
He
But
woke up over
he
there
was like,
for a
"I'm
sec.
up." You said Big Daddy. No, but
That's funny.
which is funny because my baby daddy goes by Big Daddy.
Does he really?
Yeah, he does.
I hope he's big. If that
So-
would not be cool. If he
So,
was no, not in that way. Hold on, Jay, chill. Are you laughing? Hey, pause. Pause. I hope he's tall. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
No, but to go back on the anger, it's like when you were saying that, I was kind of thinking though, because yeah, good
It's like,
segue.
we're gonna have to like edit though.
Yeah, good segue. No, we don't edit here. Sorry. But it's like we want to say bad things come out of anger, and they do.
Mhm.
They do. Nothing really
Sometimes.
good.
Most of the time.
Most of the time, yeah.
Mhm.
But like I start to think like I wouldn't have met or done a lot of the cool shit I've done in my life if I wasn't angry. Because I'll be honest, like I've been an angry person for a long time. And I'm not giving myself validation because there also is things that I shouldn't have done angry. You know what I mean? Having a short temper being a parent or with your spouse or with friends or with loved ones. But like, I mean, I was in like a motorcycle club, you know, the dedication to working out came from anger, jiu-jitsu, this podcast.
Mhm.
I mean, a lot of stuff has been because of an emotion I felt inside. And if I wouldn't have had that, how much different would it have
Right.
been?
What would have driven you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or what would I have had to lose?
That's what
Or
I like.
I guess what could I have gained? I don't know.
I feel like it fueled me. Like I
Mhm.
feel like it fueled me to the point where like,
But you have to control it.
but you
I
have
think
to
that's the
control it because there are
objective.
still times. Don't
Right.
get me wrong. Like I mean, my son's like, "Why are you raging?" I think that's the word they call now.
Oh yeah, the rage.
Why are you
yeah.
raging? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm going through midlife. I think.
Yeah. You can get paid good money if you videotape that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He would love to videotape me when I'm all whacked out. He'd be like, "Yeah." He's
Fucking
like,
million views
"Now
on
you can see
TikTok."
what happens behind the scenes in this house. But-
Oh, it's funny.
No, but like I said, I mean, there are parts of my life that if I could rewrite them,
Yeah.
I probably would have not have chosen. I mean, my son asked me the other day. I mean, like I said, he's 12, but he asked questions that I'm just like,
Mhm.
damn, who are you? But he was like, Mom, do you ever wish that your mom didn't die? And I'm like, if you would have asked me that question a long time ago, I would have told you for sure yes.
Mhm.
I was like, but I don't know if I would be the person I am if she didn't die.
All right.
I don't know that I would have you. I don't know
Right.
that I would have made the decision to be dating, your donor. Like I don't know if that would have been the person I would have chosen. So I
Mhm.
can't go back and say, I can't say yes to that answer anymore, to that question anymore.
It's almost like Benjamin Button. You remember when? Have you seen that movie?
Mm-hmm.
Classic. And like when she broke her leg, she got hit by the taxi. It was like every event led up to that.
Mm-hmm.
And Brad Pitt's commentating, and he's like, if this would have took a little bit longer, this person wouldn't have gotten to work, which wouldn't have delayed caused a crash that delayed traffic, which made the taxi, late or whatever. And then boom, he hit her,
Yep.
or if it would have been a different way, it would have missed.
Mm-hmm.
That's the weird part
Yeah.
about life. It's just,
Yeah. I mean, do I wish that we didn't have to
Yeah.
go through that experience? Do I like,
right.
do I wish
Or
we
you
could
wish
have
your mother
lived-
had her life back for
Yeah,
sure. But,
yeah.
but at some point you're going to have to, it's almost like you're telling because what if you just thought that way all the time? That'd be draining.
And that's the thing. Well, that's the thing
You
is
know
that
what I
I
mean?
did live like that for a really long time.
But now you're at peace,
now I'm at
and you're
peace.
saying,
yeah.
life is what it is.
Mhm.
We can't continue to go back to that. And
Mhm.
you don't have to tell your son that. I mean, you could explain
Yeah.
it to him like, this is my thought process now, because this helps me get through life healthier.
Well, like we go through the question of, you talked about not finding out that your father, that you had a different father until you're 14, and he knows because I actually was dating my baby daddy's cousin.
No.
And so he was around all of the family except his father. And so.
And you're not with that guy?
No, we're not together anymore. And so.
Yeah, cut that family out.
No, I'm still around the family.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, no, we're all intertwined.
No,
I'm telling
you. No dating.
No dating.
Hey,
no
dating. Whatever
anymore.
your last name is. No more. Sorry.
No more. I'm not dating. But no, right now I'm just in a peaceful place where I'm happy. I'm not saying I'm not open to the possibility. I'm just saying
don't
that
chase it.
I'm not.
I mean?
I'm at a point where it's like I'm looking for, like you say, putting intention into something.
Put yourself in the positions to see it.
Right.
You know what I mean? About good positions.
My thing right now is like, I feel like I'm trying to work on my calling.
Right.
And my calling is, like 2 years ago, I set up the website.
Mm-hmm.
And I set up Jenny V LLC. Mm-hmm. That's my business. Because I knew that I wanted to have the books, the blog, and eventually the podcast was going to come down the pike. So I didn't want to call my business a certain thing because I knew that there were going to be all of these pieces that would encompass my business.
Right.
And so, it's been 2 years and I don't get paid for anything. Setting up your podcast, like how much money do you put out on equipment and all the stuff it takes
this is what I was going to ask you.
to set up, you know?
I was just looking up her name right now. Casey McBroom. I couldn't remember her last name, but she was on, and she's a grief counselor. I think that's what I'm going to butcher this, but she's on Instagram. She's been on the podcast. But like individuals like that, you could do something like that. Have you ever thought about?
Yeah, and that's my goal down the road.
I believe she offers classes. I might be wrong,
awesome.
but I'll show you her Instagram afterwards. But yeah, I mean, or even Anne Bethune, she was on. She's a ketamine therapist. I mean, she deals with a lot of people that have gone through very traumatizing things, and you'd be good with that, especially since you've already wrote a book, which I need to read. Sorry, I haven't read it
It's
yet.
okay. No, I know. It's all right.
Come out with the audio version, please.
I know.
That's what I've been telling you. Just bring audios.
It's not. Yeah. It's like my son was
or
like.
do me a favor and read it and just send me the recording.
Your wife will be like, "Whose voice are you listening to, and why?"
And then Big Daddy came in.
I'm
like, oh shit! Hey, I swear to God, it's on grief.
Like, I don't believe you.
But yeah, maybe look at something like that. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's along the lines of where I want to go. But I'm, like.
And me and Ann we're trying to get something going. I got to get in contact with her, but we're looking at getting some people that she knows, I believe herself, or maybe some people that still work in this organization. I can't remember the name, but they deal with victims of sexual abuse.
Okay.
And so like, I want to go through that whole process of, kind of the situation of what it looks like, but more in detail, more raw, because people need to hear this shit. You know what I mean? Like, we're all worried about all this other dumb shit, and there's kids and people getting molested and raped out there.
Well, the thing is that's the other thing. Like, people we're taught as a society, right? Growing up, stranger danger. Like, how many times when you were growing up did you hear, "Be careful, don't talk to strangers"? Yeah. The majority of the people who are sexually assaulted or molested are by a relative, and it's not a far off. It's not a far off relative. It's a very close, intimate relative, and there's usually it's usually generational. Like, it's like, that's the thing, is like my question, and it's not a judgment. It's more of a like, please help me understand in my brain. If you know somebody is a sexual predator, what in your mind would let you be okay with leaving your child with that person? Like, how could you be comfortable? What is more important for you to be doing than you would be fine dumping your child off with somebody who you either have experienced it with, or to be a person, and then like, having, like, okay, say you're married, your wife,
Mm-hmm.
and her family has a history of that.
Mm-hmm.
And you take your daughter over there. And then she's like, oh yeah, by the way, so-and-so has allegations against them, or, so-and-so had somebody said that somebody did this or that. I mean, like, that, how that makes you feel is like it's a betrayal too, because you're like, I wouldn't have taken my kid over there if I would have known that this is what was happening. Like, again, so let's keep it quiet. Everybody keeps everything quiet. Nobody wants to talk about it because
that's how the disease
and
continues
that's how
to
the
spread.
disease spreads.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's how I feel about what happens with grief, what happens with the unhealing of, and grief can be anything. It does not have to be death. That is the biggest misconception that people think, like, okay, I'm going to give you a perfect example. So the last relationship I had, he was one of my really good friends. He was the family member of my baby daddy. We didn't cross the boundary. We were friends for a long time. We didn't cross the boundary because there was a level of respect that we were trying to maintain. But we had chemistry and we held it off as long as we could.
Right.
For years, we held it off. He has always been the person that was in my son's life since he was born.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from day one, he was my roommate. He was there. Off and on, because he was, he getting out of a marriage. And so he would come stay with me and then, like, rent a room from me and then go back. And that happened a couple of times. And years went by that he was in other relationships. We were just friends, like, just, let's just keep it as friends.
Right.
Let's not cross any boundaries. And then we ended up dating. And so after he left, he had been in my son's life for 9 years off and on.
Mm-hmm.
That's who my son considers his dad. That's who he calls his dad.
Right.
And he hasn't seen him, like he pretty much is like, cut him off. And he still talks to him. He still takes calls and stuff from him, but he just doesn't see him.
Mm.
I mean, my son's gone through this whole entire process of grief. Like he lost a parent, and he's not deceased,
Right.
So, like, that's the thing, is that's where I want to make sure that we as a society and we as a people don't get caught in, like, if you're going through something, let's talk about it.
Well, yeah, that's what Casey talks about.
You know?
She says it could be a loss of a career that
Mm-hmm.
you were pursuing, or there's many different forms of grief.
Right.
I believe I've seen some of your videos saying the same thing, but yeah, I think what it is, you don't always have to go get help. I would suggest somebody who specializes in it for sure, depending on, the severity of your
Mm-hmm.
situation. It's definitely recommended to talk to somebody, that understands these things, but it's also good just to help one another too. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Vent with one another.
Like you say, be a good
for one
person
another.
and just be there,
That's it, and then as well as you respect that person's time.
Mm-hmm.
But,
and their privacy, and try not to, you don't have
Yeah.
to fix it.
no.
That's the hardest part. That was the part of, like, my old recovery.
Oh yeah.
Is like, you are not the fixer. It's not
Yeah.
your job to fix somebody. Like, let them vent to you and then be like, is there something you need me to do? Is there,
Right.
and if not, then cool.
Yeah. Hey, Jennifer, I appreciate you coming on. It was fun.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, 2 hours just flew by.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Do you have anything coming up that you want to? This will be out Monday. So.
Okay. So just keep your eyes open for the launch of Mishaps and Miracles podcast coming
Do you
soon.
have a date in mind? Maybe a month? Or...
I would say in the next month. So before
Next month.
September 1st is my goal.
Okay, awesome. Do you already have a guest? Are you going to do solo or
Working on guests.
working on guests?
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough one.
It's probably going to be a hot mess probably at the beginning, but it's going to be fun.
Do some solo episodes.
Yeah.
Those are, you can always fill in your time. Also, too, if anybody is listening that is thinking about going on your podcast,
Mhm.
why not? Who fucking cares?
Right,
But don't be worried about like what other people may judge of you. And you can also, you don't have to, if you don't want to like point anybody out or whatever, don't name names, just speak your story, and you'd be surprised like how therapeutic this can be just to talk. I mean, between me and you, like when you leave here, you'll kind of feel it. You'll be like, oh damn, we talked about a lot of shit. And then when the video comes out, you're like, oh damn,
When
that
the
actually came
podcast
out.
comes out, I'll be like,
No, I do suggest if you're not good at listening to yourself, then don't do it.
Yeah, I'm joking.
But and also too, it's not even that. You may get phone calls or messages from people who watched it, and it may start a whole conversation that you've never had with that individual, because they got to see a little bit of your life, and maybe in a way they haven't. And I think it's good. And, you don't have to be in front of a camera to do it, but it's cool. It's neat to be able to listen to people talk, especially when all of us are working as much as we are. It makes the day go by. And when you're listening to these individuals talk, you can relate, and you can kind of like maybe see something that you weren't able to see in the situation you're in from somebody else who's been in it, so stuff like that. I think it's really cool. So I definitely recommend people to go on there. And yeah, definitely. Just
thank you. Yeah. I mean, I want to hear from the people. I want to hear stories. I want truth. I want people to.
Yeah. And the problem is, it's fun. It's hard to get it's hard to get everybody to hop on the train. You know what I mean? When it's not moving, when it's moving, they tend to come.
Yeah.
But if you just got to keep that away, humble, who cares? People will come when they're ready.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, the name I originally had picked out, I didn't pick that name because I wanted everyone to feel welcome. And I didn't want. What was it again? Misfits for Christ was the original.
Oh, that's the original.
Yeah. Mishaps and Miracles is what I chose. Yeah.
Okay.
But I want everybody to feel welcome, no matter where they're at, to come on the podcast and tell their story. And again, give people insight. I mean, I feel like we limit ourselves, and a lot of times we respond in fear because we don't understand situations. And I think just having that transparency, and if people would be more vulnerable and talk about their truth, it doesn't have to be everybody's truth. That's your truth. That's what your story. That's what you feel, your perception of what happened, whatever, that's what I want the platform to be. I definitely, I want to have fun. I mean, first and foremost, I want there to be fun. I want there to be laughing. You obviously you see with me, random shit comes out of my mouth. So that's not going to be that.
I like that though. Because whenever somebody sits down in front of me, I'm like, I hope they don't have an act made up. I just be yourself. We're all I tell people all the time,
I'm a hot ass mess of I know I appear to keep it all together, but I was the thing that keeps me most functional in life is that I have a planner that I still write in every day, and I have to. I
got a calendar in my phone.
I have to sit there and do my little check marks and be did you pay the bill today? Did you do what you were supposed to do?
Being organized,
It's what keeps my scattered mind together. So
another tool.
So
well, yeah. Go check out our podcast. Thank you again, Jennifer. I really appreciate it. And wood chippers kill diseases.